What is up?
What is up? Friday, bitches. Fridays.
What's going on, everybody?
I still haven't picked out a fucking song yet, man.
Are you serious?
I should just post it without a song.
My God, you should have posted it before now.
I can't post it before now. I post it when we're live, when we're actually live. So I can't post it before now because I can't post it before we're actually live.
I can't with Jeremy. I can't. You can.
You just can't. I agree. Ask my wife. I'm a lot to deal with.
Yes, that's understatement.
It is. I'm just not going to put a song. How about that? We're just not going to do a song. We're just going to post it. What the fuck is going on? What is happening to life right now? I don't even understand what's going on. You can call me a boomer now if you want.
You are. We all know it.
I'm going to post this. Yeah, I mean, I'm still not a boomer. You can go fuck yourself. We talked about boomers are my parents. They're like, I'm not that old. My parents are in their 70s, dude. I'm old. I'm not that old.
Yeah, you missed the 2-minute F-bomb timer.
2 minutes, Jeremy. That's a good point. It's not a good, and I don't have to try to pretend like I'm ignoring the comments tonight because
I know
it's Friday Night Hangout, which means I can read shit. Yay!
The people in the Discord were talking about how this podcast, we try to come up with topics and stay on the topic, but really what this podcast has turned into is we pick a topic and I wrestle you to try to talk about the topic.
There's a reason why it's called Whiskey Knife Fight.
Yeah, that's the fight aspect is Jeremy suggesting we talk about something, and the entire time he is avoiding talking about that like the plague. What we were supposed to talk about last week, I wanted to talk about when we talked before we went live, we were talking about scary movies and horror stories and ghosts and shit because it was the Halloween episode.
Right.
Every time I would get even close, we're nearing that topic, it took us 45-50 minutes to get close to it.
I'm like, hey, what about that knife?
Yeah, Jeremy's like, you ever thought about clouds? They're crazy, man. It's like,
shit.
So everybody in the Discord is like, that's the fun in the podcast now is watching you wrestle Jeremy, which is like wrestling a bear, and you always lose.
I was talking about that to a new guy that I started talking to with a new cigar club that I might be working with soon, and Dave is his name, and he said he might jump on tonight and watch the podcast. But anyway, he was asking what it was about, and I told him about you and stuff, and I said, well, basically it's about trying to talk about stuff and then me being like squirrel and pulling off topic 8 million times.
Dude, we got so close to talking about the right thing last week. It took us so long to get there, and I'm like, I found the perfect segue, headed right towards it, couldn't miss it. Point blank shot, trying to hit the target.
Yeah.
And Jeremy just yanks the wheel right when we get right at it. And
Jesus, take the wheel. Why do I keep getting this weird?
Because you're a boomer.
Keep getting this weird. Here's the thing. Somebody said in the comments, don't make fun of boomers. A large part of our audience are probably actually boomers. So you shouldn't offend the boomers.
You shouldn't. Before we get too far into this, what's in the pocket tonight?
Same thing as last week, man. I have, what in the fuck is going on with that Twitch over there? I got a Twitch on my screen here. Hold on.
Flip. Squirrel.
Back over here. Okay.
Squirrel.
Dude, I am in love with this knife, bro. And in love with this knife.
Can I come clean to you guys about something? I'm going to throw Jeremy under the bus here for a second because it's what needs to happen.
Okay, throw me under the bus, bro.
So one thing I should mention before I go further is I have lost your knife.
It doesn't surprise me. You've got too many.
So about 2 months ago now, I asked Jeremy to pick a knife. Knife under $100. I said, any knife under $100, whatever you think is the best one under $100, pick it. Don't tell me what it is and ship it to me.
Right.
So 2 months pass. And
okay, fuck you. It was definitely not 2 months. It was like a month, if that.
okay, we'll call it a month and a half. We'll split the
It
difference.
for sure wasn't even a month and a half.
And I open up the box, and it's $130 knife.
Okay. Do you want to finish telling your story? Or you want me to defend myself first?
Well, there's nothing to defend.
There is something to defend, right? Because here's what happened. What you said is pick a knife for the $100, and I'm gonna throw Zach under the bus just a little bit. I love you, Zach. I know he's probably not watching tonight, but if he is, or if he ever watches this in retrospect, I love that guy. But I'm gonna throw him on the bus just a tad. So you said pick a knife on $100. I'm gonna do this thing, blah blah blah. I said, great, awesome, sounds fun. I'll get one. Then you said, make sure you get with Zach so you guys don't send me the same shit, because I think that happened to you last year, right? Like 2 people sent you the same knife or something, right? Or you got the same knife or something.
Talon picked the #1 pick from the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, deal. I was going to talk to Zach anyway. I'll make sure. And I said, so I got a hold of Zach, and I said, Zach, you know, this is a deal with Taylor? Blah. He's yeah. You know, I'm sending him XYZ. I won't say any of the knives because I don't want to ruin the video or whatever. He said, I'm going to send him this. I said, okay, cool. Cause that was why I really wanted to talk to you, was to make sure you weren't. I said, here's what I was going to send him. Do you guys have any in stock on your website? It says no. He said, no, I don't. And I don't think they'll be in time, because I know he doesn't want to wait like a long time to do the video. So pick something else. And I said, okay, well, that was really what I had my heart set on. So do you have another suggestion? Because under $100 isn't my normal price range, right? Usually about 150 is my normal price range. He said, sure. Have you seen blah, blah, blah? And I said, no, let me go check it out. I was like, oh man, that's perfect. That's really cool. Fits a lot of the things that I love in a knife. Do that.
So spoiler, that was the Kaiser Feist. I can say that because that one's not going to be in the video, because it's over $100.
Right. He said, have you seen the Kaiser Feist? I'm like, no, I'm not familiar with that one. He goes, well, look at it real quick. And I was like, oh, dude, my Carta handles. Like, I love it. It had the matte black blade. I'm like, dude, this is my jam. This is awesome. Had a nice clip on it. I'm like, yes, send me that, and then I'll get that to Taylor. So I didn't even pay attention to the price, because Zach knew the fucking the thing was 100, and that's the one he recommended. So I thought I didn't even look.
Oh man. So now I just bought the knife that Jeremy wanted, which is the one he's carrying. So
yeah, this was the original pick. This was the original knife I wanted him to have, but we didn't think they were going to be in stock in time, which it ends up now, because we fucked up with the Feist, and now these are in, that this will be that's Jeremy's pick. It's such a good knife, dude. And I know we talked about this last podcast a little bit, but I know you said that it's substantially not as heavy duty as the normal Sheepdog.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I wouldn't say heavy duty. It's just not nearly as beefy.
Is beefy. But I think I have not handled the normal one, but I think I like that, because this is about as beefy as I would want for like an everyday carry, right? This thing,
it's a beef box. It's like that knife, the full-on titanium frame lock Sheepdog, is almost as heavy as a Leatherman Wave.
Right. So see, to me, this, because it's a little bit of a thinner blade and it's got the micarta scales. Like, I think this is, because it's, even though it's kind of a big bulky knife because of how much depth you have on that blade, like it doesn't feel heavy in your pocket, because it's actually a pretty light knife. It is
much lighter than the other one.
And for EDC purposes, you would never need blade stock thicker than that. You don't need, like, you know, a fucking what's the dude that makes the big thick daddies? Medford. Yeah, you don't need one of those for everyday carry, right? Like, I carry a Bug Out a ton. Those aren't very thick blade stock blades. So anyway, one of my new favorites that I've kept in my pocket. And dude, there's something about this blade shape. This is a great tip for opening boxes. It's so sharp.
Speaking of knives with weird tips.
Well, that's just a fuck you knife, is what you just did to my Sheepdog. Is you just went, yeah, that's nice, but
yeah. So as someone said earlier, I am now a Grimm's bro.
Somebody just said hashtag pass the buck. I'm not totally passing the buck. I'm just saying. Yeah, those knives are ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, this thing, look at this. Every time.
That will be I will have one of those at some point.
Yeah, they're good. Now, one thing that's special about mine is the double lugs.
John Scott, could you put that up real quick? See John Scott? I'm sorry, Jonah Scott. Dude, my computer's too far away for me to read well. The answer to that, Jonah, is when are you cutting off your balls? The answer I would
trade with you.
The answer is hopefully never. You're not going to be cutting your balls off. Therefore, I will not be cutting my beard off. So that's the answer.
I thought about shaving earlier today.
I know. Sometimes the weight of manhood's too much to bear. I understand.
Now, hey, that just reminded me. My fingers smell like a cigar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, are we about to go down a weird fucking path? You know,
maybe.
I think in the one podcast, didn't we record some shit that said it's about to get weird?
Yeah, it is about to get weird.
I thought it was about to get real weird when you're like, speaking of, I'm like,
no, look at this. Jeremy has seen this, but
it's nice.
This is, I had just a little OtterBox. I will upgrade from an OtterBox soon, but this is the start of the old cigar box. Not much in here, just a little Colibri V cutter or SV cutter. So it's,
yeah, dude, that's the one. Check it out. Wait, I said check it out. Oh, yeah. It's a great cutter.
Nice. It's nice.
It's great.
And then this beast,
the torch. Every cigar guy has to have a torch. I like a torch, and I like a. I'm a fan of a soft flame. Sometime also, if you're toasting the cigar and whatnot, the soft flame also is very nice. I usually keep a soft flame around somewhere, which I'm failing on that right now because I don't have one in reach. But I have about 10 lighters up here. So
I know that you're wearing your Seiko, right?
Yeah, dude.
Wait. Is it this one?
Wow, dude.
Oh, no.
Wow, dude. Wow. Wow, dude. Wow. I have patina. There you go. Somebody said I hadn't said patina yet. So patina. And by the way, what was the guy's name from earlier? Jonah. I hope he didn't think I was being too harsh with him for asking a question. I wasn't trying to be mean, buddy. I was just trying to make a point of I would cut my own balls off before I would cut this off. We have lost a listener. Yeah, Jonah's like, God, what a dick. I just asked about your fucking beard and you had to go all harsh about my junk. Good Lord.
What a dick.
We're getting around to what we're drinking. I see some questions about what we're drinking and stuff.
Since I blew past yours, the old watch on my wrist is the Laurier Neptune. Still love it. It's my cheapest watch and I wear it a lot. Love it.
Dude, I can't express how much I love the Seiko. Like, I just really like to watch. It's kind of sporty, but it can also kind of be not dressy. It's definitely not a dress watch, but like it can put, and I just don't worry about it. It's like so easy to replace if something were to happen, and it looks nice. It works really well.
Not the 007. They're discontinued. So once they're gone, they're gone.
Well, yeah, but that's why I didn't get a 007.
Oh, that's right. You got the that's right.
I got the Seiko 5, which arguably, and I know we talked about this in the watch episode, I like this better than the 007 because the things that they changed, the one thing that they did by decreasing the water resistance from 200 to 100, I don't really give two hot fucks about, but the changing to applied indices and the better movement that's got hacking and all that, and then the clear case back, I actually like those upgrades. So I kind of prefer this.
I might go with that. I know whichever one I want to get or end up getting will be compatible with a steel bezel insert replacement. And
well, plus
I want one that I can mod. So I'm going to buy it and immediately change it up.
Sorry, Taylor. Somebody had asked what knife. We didn't say what knife this is. It's a Kaiser Sheepdog, but it's the
Vanguard.
The Vanguard, the cheaper model, right? So instead of having titanium scales, it's got micarta, which to me, I don't think of that as a downgrade because I know it is because titanium's a more expensive thing, but I actually prefer micarta, and it's a liner lock instead of a frame lock.
Can I just say my biggest gripe with that knife is how there's no cutout for for access to the lock bar.
There isn't. Which normally would really bug me, but for some reason I don't have a problem getting to this one. You know what I do like?
That one's hard for me to get to. Yeah.
One thing I do like about it is some knives, the blade comes real far, and when you do this, it hits your thumb. That flipper, there's no way you can cut your thumb with that because it stops right there, and then you can just give it a little flick, and it pretty much drops closed because of the weight of that blade. So I don't know, man.
That's not dropping close, Jeremy.
Well,
this is dropping close.
Okay, and how much?
$990.
You can buy 10 of these. This is like $98. Okay, so if I have to pry something with this and snap the whole fucking tip off, I can buy 9 more. You know, I mean, look, that's an awesome knife, and I want one of those in my collection at someday. But I mean, you can't make that comparison. Right?
But you also won't even pull the trigger on a Sabenza.
I'm going to soon, man. I have other shit. Like I just spent a fucking $1,000. I bought a damn Concept 2 rower.
Ooh.
I just ordered one of those today. I'd been on a wait list and stuff. Ordered a Concept 2 rower because I've got the Satan's tricycle, which is like a Rogue Echo bike, and that thing is great. But oh my god, will it give you like 7 levels of heart attack and you'll be throwing up? I mean, it's they call it Satan's tricycle for a reason. It's miserable. A rower, you can get that level of workout on it if you want, but you can also just get on there and kind of go at it a little slower and get a nice, like slow 30-minute cardio session. And if you're in the mood, you don't have to get on there and go balls out.
Yeah. I am on the brink of really needing to I've
get a rower.
I've taken care of a lot of stuff in my life, but I got to get on top of my personal health.
I do too, man. I've been letting it slip.
It's easy to do when you're working around the clock.
Doctor, and if I have to go to pee, it's because I've been drinking a lot of water. Because the doctor's like, you got to drink more water. And normally I do, but I guess I've been slipping lately. He took a urine sample. He's like, dude, this shit's like 10W40. Like, like you've got to drink more water. And I'm like, okay, that's not good. Okay. So there you go. But get a rower, man. The good thing about a rower is you can do it like in your garage or in your kitchen. They don't take up a lot of room. You can hang them on the wall if you need the space. They're low profile. They're long, but they're low profile. You can get a super like high intensity HIIT workout type training on it, or you can do like more of an LSD, not like the hallucinogen, long, slow duration workout on it. They're great, man. Satan's tricycle is another great one if you're ready to go to that next level and puke on a daily basis. But people are commenting. I think somebody said something about Satan's tricycle in there. Oh no, they just said, did he say Satan's tricycle? Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys in the chat have ever heard of like a air assault bike or a Rogue Echo bike. They're very popular in the CrossFit community. The harder you push, the more it resists because it works off of air, and it will absolutely make you chuck. Like every time in the last like 2 years that I've thrown up during a workout, it's been because of that fucking bike.
Alex is not wrong here in that we need more space. We don't have room for much else. Like we've packed our house full and we just need a bigger house. So the idea, I think personally, is whenever I get a new studio, I'm hoping that I could just put something there. Depending on where I end up going, I'll have a shower at work, which would be really, really nice. We'll see. Been some crazy developments on the whole studio thing this week. Spoiler alert, I don't think I'm going to get the space in this building. I really want to, but don't think that's going to work out.
Some of the numbers that you threw earlier, I was like, whoa, that changed from nice and affordable and pleasant to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we need to get some stuff poured real quick because people keep saying, "What are you drinking? What are you drinking?"
Well, nothing right now. We got
to get pouring.
What are you drinking?
Well, first off, I'm gonna have to do shameless plug. Ooh, before I put anything in it, I can show you. Just go ahead.
He got that from the dollar store, by the way.
Go ahead and zoom in on that, Taylor. Go ahead and do the close. Go ahead and do a little.
Hang on. Wait, right? Is that right?
The view. Hold right there.
Did you even see what I did?
Yeah, I did. You fucking zoomed in on yourself, you dick face. Why can't I ever see? You talk about how great this Sony is with focus, but why can't I ever get to focus on the fucking glass?
Because you don't know how it works. Look.
Well, that's what I just fucking did. Hold on. Where's my? See, it's not doing it. I don't understand.
It's quite simple, really.
I don't. How if I hold it like real close like that?
Oh, there you go.
Wait.
Oh, your focus point is to your left.
Oh, it's way down here. Why is my focus point way down there?
I don't know. You missed it again.
You can't really see it on here. It's got the Leaf and Barrel logo stamped on the whole bottom. And these are all hand blown glasses that we'll be releasing, I think, this week. This is the one we've been working on for like fucking months with the guys at Exclusive, Chad and all those guys. And this is my version of the perfect whiskey glass. We went through a lot of different versions of this to try to get what I thought was the perfect proportions for a whiskey glass. Now, this isn't for drinking whiskey with ice. It's for drinking whiskey neat. Although you could probably put an ice cube in here, but it's a little small for drinking it like that. It's really meant for like my version of drinking whiskey neat when you don't want to use a Glencairn, because Glencairns, you got that little stem and it's always a little pinkies out. You know what I mean? It's just a dead sexy glass. They're all
very dainty.
They're all hand blown. Yeah, dude. Glencairns are like super. Don't get me wrong. It's like a great tasting glass. Whenever I'm tasting a new whiskey, I use Glencairns almost exclusively. But I really like the feel of like a standard tumbler or a rocks glass. But tumblers are a little too big for like drinking whiskey neat, right? Because like in a full size tumbler, you pour like an ounce or 2 ounces of whiskey, which would be a normal pour of whiskey if you're drinking neat, and it's just like a dribble in the bottom of the glass, right? This, I tried to make the perfect proportions for drinking neat and still being able to have like a nice size glass and be little. It's got a little bow in it, so hopefully it traps a little of the vapor, so it still retains a little bit of the nosing quality of a Glencairn, just a little bit. Yeah,
nosing.
We worked hard to try to design the best one.
Well,
dropping this
week.
You
got that. You got your ashtray. You got your Zippos coming up.
Yeah. The ashtrays are dropping probably within the next week or two. The Zippo is going to be dropping. Zippos are actually pretty nice the way Zippo does it. They get them all done up for you, and they send them in this little situation right here. So you get the Zippo, and then you get the butane cigar lighter all in one. So it already has the normal Zippo insert in here, and then they give you the extra butane for people that lighting a cigar with a normal Zippo offends their feminine, delicate nature.
I know I showed you last week, but did I show it on the podcast? The other knife?
The other knife?
Yeah. This boy.
Oh yeah. You sold that last week on the podcast. The $8,000 fucking slip joint.
I just forgot about it. I just remembered it was in my little organizer. Yeah, this thing is noisy. Somebody mentioned it in the chat, and I just had to flex a little harder on you, Jeremy.
Dude, yeah, you keep flexing. I mean, you've definitely. We were laughing at your carry the other day, laughing in not like a mean way, but like in a holy shit, like
who
you like. Me and you were talking about it.
Oh yeah.
The carry your carry that day was like $5,000. And I was like, God damn, Taylor, like you've taken shit to a new level when your carry is like $5,000.
Yeah, it's wild. I need to like reel it in a little bit. It's kind of crazy, man.
It has, but I mean, that's what happens when you've been doing this stuff for a while and you've been collecting for a while. You're trading, you're constantly upgrading and doing it. You know, it's kind of like, my wife, we're joking around about because I'm about to trade in a bunch of camera gear. Like when you're starting from scratch and you got to buy all that shit, it's rough. But once you've accumulated a pretty good stockpile and you can trade stuff to make up for some of the cost of stuff, you look up and you can get some pretty nice stuff and not really be out of pocket that. I mean, you're still out of pocket some, but it's not horrible, right?
Right. Yeah. Like, I would not go out and buy the carry I have all at once. It took me 2 years to really just build up to it, you know?
Right. Some people see that and they're like, oh, whatever, fucking spend $5,000 on it. But it's not like you just went and dropped $5,000. Like you're like, I'm going to order this and I want one of these and I want one of these, you know, it's a passion of yours and it's taken you a while to build up to that. And it's like an achievement. It's like leveling up in a video game. It's like fucking.
Over several months, I bought several, $200-$300 knives over a span of 6-7 months. And then I ended up selling all of those off and buying one expensive knife.
Right.
With the money from that. And then that's how you do it. Like, you don't just dump $5,000 into a carry overnight. There are people who do that. There are people who join the Discord server and they're like, what's the best knife under $1,000? And they go and buy it. And then they're like, what watch should I get? Budget's $2,000. And I'm like, okay.
Like your budget's a lot better than mine, homie. Somebody said they wanted to see a close up of that. Taylor, can you let me fix the fucking focus point first off? Oh no, I'm
okay, boomer.
Let me plug my headphones back in.
Jeremy is
there we go. Somebody wanted a close up of the see if I where's it? There it is. There's the focus. It says Leaf and it's a Leaf and Barrel logo on it. I don't know if that's close enough to where you can see it or not.
Yeah, I can see it, sort of.
Just the Leaf and Barrel logo that's on all the stuff. It's on all the things. Oh, here's mine not in the box. Maybe you can see it better on this one if I can maybe get closer.
It's in front of the light now. You gotta angle it, yeah.
Mine, you can tell, has already got some scratches because it's had some pocket time. The beautiful thing about the Zippos, man, is the beautiful thing.
Button, but I like this.
Yeah, that's the best view. The beautiful thing about these Zippos is any Zippo, really, not just those, is they start out all shiny like that, and then patina. Jesus Christ. Like when you first start carrying them, they'll start getting scratches and stuff like this one does, because this one's only been carried for a few weeks. So like it goes from being like super shiny to like having scratches and stuff. And then I don't have my other Zippo that's like a few years old up here.
I don't know where mine is either.
But after like a year of carrying them, they patina, and like all the scratches just turn into like this really nice, like dull patinaed surface.
Yeah, they end up looking like this.
Yeah, they just look great, man. After a while, they darken up, and they look, and all that. Like my other one has dents in it from where I've dropped it on concrete and shit, and then those get darker, and to me it just adds character. I love the way they look after they've had some time to kind of grow as you grow, so to speak. They tell a story, man. Somebody said that. That's a perfect way to say it. They tell a story. It's great.
Joe Pro asked, so does the knife get used or is it just for show? I am a huge believer in use your shit.
No safe queens, and that was
no safe queens. Use them. Grimsmo Norseman. I have Shiragorovs. Use them. They're tools. If you baby them, then why even have them, right? There's no point. That's my take. Do I hard use all of my knives? No. Something I've mentioned before or explained before is that I have a whole bunch of knives. So I end up using one for a few days, and then I'll use another one for a few days, and then I'll use another. So they never like get super worn out, which I kind of hate. Like I really want just one good knife, but I've chosen this path. So this is the way forward. This is the way.
This is the way, bitch. Which, by the way, if you want any of these shirts, I haven't taken them. I was supposed to take them down the first of the month, and I totally forgot to fucking tell Bunker to take them down. So there's still I need to do that tomorrow though, because they were only supposed to be up till the end of October. But if you wonder what I'm drinking tonight, it's this
cigar malt,
Dalmore cigar malt, which is
EDC
great.
Montunky. Do you know or have any inside info when Talon is releasing the keychain tool? I don't know what he's even releasing, so that is a no.
Nope.
What should I go with, man? You guys should pick. You should pick.
I think you should go with that bottle I sent you. I didn't send you anything because I don't know what the legalities of sending people stuff in the mail is. So I didn't send anything. What I meant to say was, what about that bottle that you recently acquired that may not have come from your state?
We won't talk about that. It's actually at my house.
Is it? Oh, you didn't bring it?
I know.
Oh,
I didn't think about it until I got here. This is Bullet Rye, so that one's probably out. We got Port Charlotte, High West Campfire, High West Prairie Bourbon, Old Forester Statesman, Freuchten, Michter's Rye, and Double Oaked.
Well, here's the question. Are you in the mood for scotch or bourbon tonight? Are you want to drink some scotch with me, or you want to go bourbon?
I probably go bourbon, I think.
I don't know. Double Oaked. That's always my answer to that question. Unless you got some 1920 over there somewhere.
1920's at home, too.
So you left the super good shit at home. Oh, dude, by the way, somebody just said, watch The Mandalorian, Taylor, and somebody else said, how good was season 2, episode 1. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes because you guys are all going to unfollow Taylor when he's done saying what he's going to say. And I told him, I'm like, you better watch what you say, bitch. And he's like, nope, I always speak the truth. I'm like, okay. But I mean, saying what you're going to say is about like calling somebody's mama a whore. I'm just saying, you got to watch it.
Just pour yourself a little glass before I start talking about the Mandalorian.
Right. Just let's wait. Just wait until people have had some time.
Don't even use a glass. Just drink out of the bottle.
And as far as what I'm smoking what is left of this Plasencia Alma Fuerte. because I did not finish this earlier. It went out while I was prepping for the podcast, and then I'm sure this is not going to last me the whole thing because it's not much left. I'm going to switch over to this Padron 1926.
So the reason I pulled this out earlier is because I was going to talk about what I had before I came. I can't smoke in this space because it's not ventilated at all. But I'm not sure how I call this or what I would call this, but this is a Camacho. This is what I smoked before I came. I pre-gamed at the local cigar loft.
That's such a
Camacho. This is Nicaraguan.
You said it's a Nicaraguan barrel aged. It's a rum barrel aged.
Rum barrel aged.
They have a whiskey barrel aged one, and they have a rum barrel aged. That's the rum barrel aged.
Yeah, it says aged in rum barrels.
It's one of my favorite Camachos.
It was pretty good, not gonna lie, but
you said you actually preferred the other one a little more, though.
I did. That one, I don't remember what that was.
Which surprises me because that's probably the sweetest of the Camacho. I think that aging them in rum, because rum has an inherent sweetness, I think a little bit of that sweetness is imparted on the leaf a little bit. I feel like, because it's like the sweetest of the Camacho line, I feel like.
Jim Alaska says Taylor. I always saw Taylor comes off as a beta male, hence his dislike of the Mandalorian.
I mean, I told you, you got to watch out what you say about the Mandalorian. You're going to get, you're going to get like people fired up, dude. That is a very beloved show.
I know. And I think
paying homage to a hugely beloved series. And by the way, I did not say placenta. I said placencia. Although I've said for a long time that name
is rolling placentas and smoking them. So.
I've said for a long time that name does sound like placenta to me, but it's placencia.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taylor. I'm sorry
Definitely.
I cut you off because I saw that.
So yeah, I stayed true to my word. I finished Longmire this past week and decided to start The Mandalorian. Production value is great. I really wouldn't expect anything less from Disney, right? They're loaded and they can make some really good stuff.
Well, and the guys that are the kind of heading that up. Oh my God, why am I drawing a fucking blank? I know I just watched the whole fucking like series where it talked about all the behind the scenes stuff with the Mando. The two guys, Jon Favreau and the other guy that's like the Star Wars guru.
The guy.
Anyway, those guys are crushing it. You wouldn't expect anything less from those guys either because they're the best.
Anyway, I would say, coming from somebody who has I've watched most of the Star Wars movies, especially the first 6, right? I've watched those multiple times. I'm not a massive fan of them. I think they're fine, but I'm not like crazy over it. I'm much more into things like Longmire and Clint Eastwood and just more realistic stuff.
Well, that is supposed to be somewhat.
Yeah. And well, I'll get there because Longmire is very heavily built around like a Clint Eastwood type character.
Well, this one's supposed to be Lone Wolf and Cub, right? Is what they were supposed to kind of model this after. Hence the Mandalorian and the kid or the child, as they call it.
Yeah, and even Robert Taylor, who plays Longmire, Walt Longmire, has said like he really studied Clint Eastwood before playing that role to kind of give, and you could tell like when he walks into a bar or wherever he's walking into and talks to somebody, he gets like this low growl and he doesn't get all worked up. He's just straight. Right. And I love that. But I think that aspect of the Mandalorian, I like.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's fine. But if you take a step back and look at it from what it is, like the writing, dude, the dialogue in the Mandalorian is laughable. Here's
bad. The thing. The Mandalorian isn't supposed to be a fucking linguist. The dude's a goddamn warrior. Those guys ain't worried about.
Not him, just everybody. Like everybody in the show, and the whole thing is just like references back to Star Wars, and there's so many winks and nods and fourth wall breaks. Like
Star Wars is not supposed to be Pulp Fiction, right? It's not supposed to be a clever dialogue heavy kind of thing, right? That's not what it's about.
It's pandering.
It's not pandering.
It's pandering to a very easy to please audience.
I don't think it's
exactly
pandering.
What it is.
I don't think
it's exactly like all the Marvel movies, and it's why I don't like the Marvel movies.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree in the fact that it's pandering.
I like Deadpool. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but once you get to like the Avengers and all of the individual movies that come from the Avengers, like it's just pandering.
It's not pandering. I think you're mistaking little bits of fan service here and there because people that really.
It's not, that's the thing. It's not a little bit of fan service. It's like one after another, after another, after another. Like,
I mean, the whole character of the Mando has never been really brought up in Star Wars. So, I mean, this dude's not anybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole new kind of thing.
But I love the idea of like a space bounty hunter. Like, that's
great.
Cool. That's cool.
Dude, and somebody says it right here. Weapons are my religion. Okay. The fact that line is in a show, that's the best line ever made. Weapons are my religion.
I'm just saying, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, but this is just coming from somebody who was never really super into Star Wars, who has tried. I don't know.
Here's the thing.
The Mandalorian is okay, but it's not something I'm going to go crazy about. I think it's overhyped because it has Star Wars tagged onto it. That's it.
Fucking stop it. Here's the thing. Somebody had said it can be a little campy, and it can be, but it does that on purpose. But it does.
They definitely wanted to really pay homage to like the 80s style.
Right.
That's very obvious. I know that.
The little bit of campiness that's in there, I feel like is purposeful. Like these guys, you got a whole bunch of really smart motherfuckers that are very knowledgeable about Star Wars lore, all the backstories, all the books, the just crazy detailed universe that exists there. And I mean, they don't do anything accidentally, right? If it comes across a little campy, it's because they meant for it to be a little campy there. If it comes across like a little bit of fan service, then they meant for that to be fan service, right?
Since when are Star Wars fans easy to please? They haven't been happy since Return of the Jedi.
Thank you. Those motherfuckers are getting grumpy. And the fact that all of them agree that this is awesome says something.
But they will watch it, and they'll watch it again, and they'll watch it again just because it's Star Wars.
No. They'll watch it and watch it again to analyze it and bitch about it, because all real Star Wars fans have pretty much hated everything since the original trilogy. Dude, they hate it so bad. The last three has caused more fucking turmoil than you would ever imagine. People hate those fucking movies for the most part. They hate them so bad. Matter of fact, the whole Star Wars community has been in uproar for like the past 7 years because of how bad they hate them.
How can you say likes Clint Eastwood or spaghetti westerns, but doesn't like The Mandalorian? Similar style and genre, same feel. Except for there aren't like fucking fourth wall breaks every 20 minutes where they're like, huh.
Where's there a fourth wall break?
There's not a fourth wall break, but you know what I mean? Like,
oh, I was about to say, I've never seen a fourth wall break in there at all, ever. I'm like, this isn't Deadpool.
No, I know it, but they, you know, like all the throwbacks and references back to Star Wars, it just, I don't know, it just pulls me out of it, you know?
Supposedly,
and some of the actors that they went with were not great. I'll be honest. The one that played Kara, who's an MMA fighter or former MMA fighter, I thought she was a horrible actress.
Yeah, like she fits the part, right? Like that shit is a beast. Like she's a beast in real life. Like she'd probably whoop both of our asses.
Oh yeah,
at the same time. Like,
oh yeah, she's a badass. But as an actress, like I know what they're trying to do. Like they've pulled some people in, like fucking Bill Burr.
I thought he was great in it too. It was great.
He was actually good. He was good, but I did not expect to see Bill Burr.
No, I didn't either. I thought it was great. But I don't know. I've enjoyed some of the cameos like Bill Burr and stuff like that. And I enjoy the fan service. But at the same time, I think the storyline, even though they do a lot of callbacks and there's a lot of fan service, I feel like the storyline, even if you had not watched Star Wars before, it's an interesting premise, right? It's this lone wolf bounty hunter guy that gets soft because of this child and ends up being the protector of this child. And so even if you didn't know Star Wars, maybe it would be better if you didn't, because then you wouldn't think it was campy because of all the callbacks.
And see, I think it has potential though, right? I just think for me, I think the biggest thing, I can look past most of that. The biggest thing for me so far is that and we talked about this, there's no payoff. It's just kind of like I watched this and it was a thing and there was no emotion or anything. It was just like, it was almost, and maybe it was intended to be this way, it was almost episodic in the way that like Law and Order SVU is, right? Like there's a little story, but there's no payoff at the end. You're just like, okay, that I have completed the story, and that's how I feel. I did not finish the first season.
Well, finish watching the first season and start. I think a lot of the first season was set up, right? Like because they were starting a new storyline, they were doing a lot of new things. They were trying to develop a brand new character that nobody had ever really even heard of much before or seen in live action, certainly. So I think if you're looking for payoff, you'll probably see more of that coming forward. Not to mention like Ahsoka is supposed to be in this season, which I'm pretty excited about. There's supposed to be some cool people in this season that might make some appearances that, again, you'll probably hate it because it's fan service, but nevertheless, I think it's good. I probably,
so far,
probably just coughed all this money.
All of that is to say, so far, I'm not blown away by it. Everybody is so crazy about it. I think it was okay. It wasn't great.
Dude, I thought it was fucking awesome. I was thoroughly impressed. I watch it with my boys every week. We all sit down and we watch it. And my son Jarrett, I have to like try to keep him quiet because he asked 5 million questions and gets excited every time something. He's like, Dad, did you see that? Did you see what Mando did? I'm like, yeah, buddy, I saw it, but I can't hear what he's saying now because you're talking. So can we just take it down a notch? He gets so excited. But
can I also say that as much as I liked Longmire when I first started it, by the end, I was like, can this please end? Like it just got so drawn out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that show did lose a little for me toward the end of it. I don't remember how it ended because it's been a while since I've watched it now, but I do remember liking it a lot more the first few seasons and it starting to kind of taper a little bit and not being quite as toward the end.
Yeah, they got like they had a good story and it wrapped up like halfway through the show. And then it was like, the show's doing all right. Let's keep it going, I guess. And it was, I don't know, they were just reaching at some points. And then at the very end, it just was tied up too neatly. Like everything was like, oh, we're ending in happiness. Everybody's great. You know,
we had to end it this way so that people wouldn't get mad.
Yeah. I don't know.
Somebody just said,
this is all coming from somebody who's pretty, I would say, easy to please when it comes to movies and stuff.
Somebody just said that they get together with their kids and like a slumber party. Yeah, dude, it's fun, man. You know, and it's one of those shows. There's so much stuff on TV nowadays that you can't really sit down and enjoy with your kids because a lot of it's kind of like really outside the realm of shit that kids should be watching. so it's nice to have a show that like I enjoy as much and it kind of harkens back to my childhood and reminds me of that cool stuff and is giving my kids the same thing and we can all sit down and enjoy together. It's fun, man.
Mason, my man. Peaky Blinders. That's
for sure.
See, that is a fucking fantastic show.
Oh, that's great. But you can't sit down and watch that show with your kids.
No, you can't. But I'm saying, like on the list of shows, like Peaky Blinders, Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah,
you know, those are the top ones for me.
Those ones you sit down with your wife.
Alex won't watch that shit with me.
Me and Allison watched Sons of Anarchy twice from first season to end. I'm
trying to get her to watch Sons of Anarchy. She said she would.
Dude, if nothing else, she'll like it for Jax. My wife loves that fucking dude. That would be her hall pass. I think she would bail on me in a heartbeat for that guy. Like
Alex's hall pass is Leo. So
Leo DiCaprio. Dude, have you seen The Revenant?
Yes.
Dude, I didn't watch that for whatever reason until like a month ago, I guess, maybe.
Dude, it's so good.
Dude, it's so good. But dude, did Leo fucking kill that one? My God.
Well, he had to do something to try to finally get a Grammy.
Dude, he crushed that shit. Crushed it. I mean, I felt for him in that stuff, dude. He was struggling. That bear attack was hard to watch. I was
this is a good question. Is the Mayans any good? I haven't started it. I haven't started it. I haven't heard anything about it.
I haven't started it because Sons of Anarchy was such a perfect thing for me. I don't want to ruin it with a spinoff. And I know that's horrible because it might be really good. I should give it a chance. But
it's like Better Call Saul with Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was great. Better Call Saul is like, you know, I'd say 65-70% as good as Breaking Bad.
Yeah. I can't. And then it kind of somewhat fucks it up for me because I'm like, God, that just kind of takes away from it. So
yeah. Leo and Django was just good, dude. Fucking Django Unchained.
Yeah, dude.
Such a good movie.
That was such a bloody movie toward the end when they just started fucking blowing everybody. And it's like the most unrealistic amount of blood splatter from a gunshot. It's just like fucking shit everywhere. It's like people were getting shot with grenade launchers, dude. It was awesome. That was a great movie too. I love that guy, that German guy that's in that movie that played
Christoph Waltz.
He was great in Inglourious Bastards.
Christoph Waltz is, I think, one of the most underrated actors out there.
He's fantastic.
Throws himself into a role, and he's so good at what he does.
He's fantastic. But here's the thing: if you compare stuff like Django Unchained and Inglorious Bat and super really well written dialogue based movies, then you look at the Mandalorian. Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different thing, and you're going to be disappointed. But you kind of have to take yourself out of that and just. It's Star Wars, man. It's not the same kind of thing. You know what I mean?
See, the thing is, for somebody who is just all in on Star Wars, loves it, compared to somebody who's like, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
That doesn't carry nearly as much weight for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
I get it.
Just like showing up to a lake, like a lake day, midsummer, and somebody shows up with Truly.
That's you, bitch.
You're going to be like, fuck, what am I going to do? And I'm going to be like, hey, whatever, I'll drink it. You know, like it's the same thing there, right?
The Wolf of Wall Street,
also great.
The scene that redeemed that whole movie is when Leonardo DiCaprio was blowing cocaine in what's her name's ass. I was like, oh Jesus, this movie just went to another level. He's blowing cocaine in a chick's butthole. Like that is a fucking next level situation.
Hateful Eight is another great one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I mean, these are all Tarantino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Tarantino is just next level. I love him. He said, I think he's only got like, 2 more movies? Something like that. He said when he started his career, he was only making a certain number of movies and no more, and he's getting close to the end. And it's not like he needs to make more after that. I mean, the dude's fucking loaded.
The only one that I haven't seen that I can remember that's a Tarantino movie is the... what's it called? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that's the name of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that one, but I want to.
One more. Somebody says it's one more. Ooh.
Only one more, huh?
That sucks.
That's a shame because
Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs.
Pulp Fiction might be one of the best movies ever made.
Pulp Fiction's really good. Yeah. I only watched Reservoir Dogs maybe like 3 years ago.
Reservoir Dogs is a good one. I like Pulp Fiction better, I think. I think Pulp Fiction might be my favorite of his movies. I just really like that movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
Same. I mean, I got a wallet made that says "bad motherfucker" on it just because.
All right, so I'm gonna get some shit for this one. This is just gonna be shit on Taylor night. I've never seen a John Wick movie.
Oh, get the fuck out of here! I gotta go, guys. I'm signing off. I'm just getting out of here real quick. Let me get over here my computer and shut this bitch down. Like
for what it's worth, it's not necessarily by choice. I've recommended John Wick several times when Alex and I sit down, and she will not watch John Wick with me. And
that doesn't mean you don't. There's lots of shit my wife won't watch with me. I watch it anyway.
I know. I need to watch it, but it's not available to stream anywhere. And I have this thing where I don't like renting movies. So
okay, here's the thing: they're worth buying all of them.
Okay, maybe I will buy the trilogy because there are 3 of them, right?
Dude, they're so good.
And just watch.
There's 3 of them.
I'm probably
gonna hate it. You're probably gonna hate it because it's good. So like you hate happiness and puppies and like babies. Like you hate all things that make people happy.
I do hate all the things.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I do hate all the things. No, I like a good like zone out, blow shit up, shoot them up movie. I like them from time to time.
Oh, I see Chad.
Yeah.
See, you gotta check out John Wick. Chad's in here. Chad, we talked about the whiskey glasses, buddy. Woo. Whiskey. Chad is a big part of why those whiskey glasses are awesome as they are.
I'm not lying. Alex will not watch them with me.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't watch
she
them.
Won't watch. I've tried for years now to get Alex to watch the best Christmas movie with me, and she won't do it.
What's the best Christmas movie?
Die Hard, motherfucker.
Oh, well, for sure. I didn't know. I thought you were going to say like fucking some dumb shit. You don't like fucking Mandalorian or you've never seen John Wick. How can I trust your judgment of what's the best Christmas movie? You actually pulled out a man call there. You just got some of your man card back. I agree I have a buddy of mine, Matt, who, it was like a thing that we did for a long time. And we also used to go to this theater back in the day when people smoked cigarettes and stuff. We used to go to this theater in town that you could still smoke cigarettes in the theater. And we would try to smoke a cigarette every time John McClane lit a cigarette in that movie. And like, you would be about to die at the end of it. Cause that bitch smoked cigarettes like a chimney in that movie.
This is a new development. John Wick movies are on Amazon Prime. They were not a few months ago because I tried to watch them and I was going to have to buy them. So just saying.
Some people firmly disagree with that, by the way.
What?
That Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I say those people are very potentially the Antichrist.
They're killjoys.
But it for sure is a Christmas movie, and I agree. You know what? Here's the thing. It might be the best Christmas movie. There is one other movie that I love watching at Christmas. Totally different kind of thing, but I do love Christmas Vacation. That movie cracks me up. Shitter's full, Vacation. Clark. Like, save Christmas the neck for me, really Clark. It's such a great movie, dude. I mean, it's a totally different thing, but like that is such a great movie, dude. Such a great movie. The Shitter's full. Save the neck. I always wonder. He says, "Save the neck for me, Clark," and then he like nudges his wife. What is he trying to say there? I mean, is he trying to say they're finna do something kinky with that turkey neck, or is
he keisters it for dinner?
That's what I'm wondering. Or is he just saying like, "Oh, I love the neck meat," or is he like,
I used to eat the turkey neck.
We still do. We use it to make the giblet gravy.
We used to fight over the gizzards and the neck.
We put the
I don't know what gizzards technically are, but
we put the neck and then the organ meat in like a pot and boil it, and get all the good stuff happening. Then you make some gravy out of it, make giblet gravy out of it. It's really good. Kiss my ass, kiss my ass, kiss my ass. Somebody saying kiss my ass a whole lot. Christmas Story. Christmas Story is a classic, right? Like,
yeah,
I feel like you have to watch that every Christmas. But at the same time, realistically, I don't think it quite holds up to A Christmas Story or Die Hard, but it's still a classic. So I'll watch it. A Wonderful Life. That's another one that there's like a handful of 5 or 6 movies that you have to watch every Christmas. Right. But on that list, I think Die Hard and A Christmas Vacations, Christmas. What is it? Is it Christmas Vacation? Yeah. Christmas Vacation. Yeah. Sit very high on that list.
Yeah. It's good. We watch it every Thanksgiving with Alex's family. Elf is good.
It's good, but it's not on my list. If I watch it, great. It's not one that I make sure I watch every year.
Home Alone is also a good one.
Home Alone's another good one. It's also not one that I watch every year, though, although it is a good one.
Elf. The thing about Elf is I can see Elf too much. Right. I can't see Christmas Vacation too much.
Right.
That's the difference.
You Bad Santa is actually a really fucking funny movie. Funny. You won't shit right for last time. I didn't shit right for a week. It's such a fucked up movie. Oh God. It's so fucked up. Billy Bob Thornton, man. He's a weird fucking guy. Didn't him and Angelina Jolie like wear each other's blood around their neck for like a couple years while they were married and some weird shit?
Who knows?
I think they did. They did some weird shit. I'm on my fucking lunch break.
Yeah, Alex makes me watch these every year.
What is it?
The Holiday and Love Actually.
Love Actually is not actually bad. That's actually
Love Actually is good. I love it just for the song. Alex, it drives her crazy though. She makes me watch it, and then I sing. I feel it in my fingers. I sing it over and over and over. It drives her crazy.
I actually do like Love Actually. It's a pretty funny movie. There's some funny shit that goes on in that movie. It's not bad. Somebody said I sound like Billy Bob. I don't think I sound like John C says, "Damn, Jeremy, you sound like Billy Bob."
You don't sound like Billy Bob. You sound like Billy Bob in Sling Blade.
mustard and biscuits.
I like French fried taters.
Speaking of The Revenant, I forgot to think it was me and Chad from Big Idea. Was it me and him that were talking the other day? Maybe it wasn't Chad. Chad's probably going, "No, motherfucker, it wasn't me." Speaking of The Revenant, dude, one of the baddest motherfuckers in the acting game also. Homeboy, he's in Peaky Blinders. He was in The Revenant.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Fucking
you're talking about like, is it Killian?
No, fucking I just had his name and it just went. See, this is what happens when you're a boomer. You lose shit. He's like one of my favorite actors. Why can't I think of his name right now? Tom Hardy. Yes.
Tom Hardy. Yeah.
Dude, that dude's fucking fantastic. He just seems like he doesn't give a fuck. Like in real life. Like I've seen him tell off interviewers. If they say some shit wrong, he's like, "Go fuck yourself."
Do you know who's also in Peaky Blinders and The Revenant?
Tom Hardy?
Paul Anderson, who plays the brother. What's his name?
He's in Revenant?
Yeah.
You know what? He was in Revenant, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Tom Hardy. Okay. In chat, who agrees Tom Hardy? Who agrees Tom Hardy is a bad motherfucker? Like, not only can he act his ass off, but he seems like a legitimate badass.
Yeah, he is.
His
he's a
interviews-
softie in real life, I think.
I don't think so. I don't think so, dude.
Well, like he's like a teddy bear to the people that know him. I mean,
oh
like,
yeah,
maybe
no,
not the reporters or whatever. But.
Right, I think he's a very nice guy, but I don't think he puts up with a lot of shit.
Yeah,
like, because most of Hollywood like sucks up to reporters and the people that interview and stuff. And if they say some shit that Tom doesn't like, he will fucking tell them. Like, he'll be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" he just lays into him, and I'm like, "Get it, son."
Hell yes. I made Alex watch Lawless with me, and I don't think she liked it. I love that movie. I love Lawless.
His throat, and he still didn't die. He was like, "Whatever, motherfucker."
It's such a good movie.
That one where he played himself was pretty good too. They were twins.
Oh, The Warrior?
No.
The fighting movie?
No.
MMA?
No,
that was a good movie too. The
Warrior
Warrior
was a good movie. No, it was fuck. What was that movie? He played both parts. He played identical twins, and he obviously played both parts. What the fuck is the name of that movie?
I don't know.
Oh God, I can't think of it. Lawless. No, Lawless wasn't it. That was
Legend.
The one I was talking about. Yeah, I think it was Legend. Legend. It was a good movie. His one brother was like a little off and crazy and would beat the shit out of people and act. Well, they both beat the shit out of people, but one of the brothers was not all there, brother.
I haven't seen it. But see, like Mad Max, I feel like Mad Max is the same kind of like almost thing like John Wick. Like it's not the same style of movie as John Wick, but it is kind of in like the mindless just action, like, and I can get behind that. I enjoyed Mad Max.
The Cray twins. Yeah, that was who they played. I want to say that might have been like a true story or like based on a true story, right? Like, I don't know how true it really was.
Legend. I never saw him. Looking it up right now.
It was good, man. He played both parts. Which I always think is, just because I edit stuff and whatnot, I always find it to be interesting when they do that because the editing that's involved in getting that all to look the right way, and then also from an acting standpoint, him acting with himself is just pretty impressive.
I started Bronson. That's probably the only movie that he's in that I started and couldn't finish.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. It was a little too weird for me.
It was slow.
It was so slow, and it went a little weird. Like, I don't know. It went a little like what was it, Clockwork Orange? It went a little like weird. Like, I don't know, man. Just, it wasn't my, I finished it, but I when I was done, I was like, that was probably my least favorite Tom Hardy movie that I've seen. Normally I really love that guy.
Shia LaBeouf beat up Tom Hardy on the set of Lawless. Didn't he jump him when Tom Hardy was naked or something like that? I remember some sort of story like that. Like he waited until he was naked and just went at him.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Like
I didn't really like Shia LaBeouf for a long time just because he seemed so fucking weird. But actually, I saw him on Hot Ones and he seemed all right on Hot Ones.
He's chill. If you have not seen Peanut Butter Falcon, it's so good, and Shia is perfect in it. It's such a good movie. It's kind of a feel-good movie, but it's really good. That one of the main characters has Down syndrome, and it's just so fucking funny.
Didn't he win an award for that show or something?
The movie, yeah,
I
think so.
Yeah, somebody said Tom Hardy was in Inception also with Leo.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's been in some banger movies, man.
From Alex, speaking of weird good movies you need to watch, Swiss Army Man. That's a Daniel Radcliffe movie.
Isn't that the where he's like dead or something? And
it's so funny, dude.
Like, that is some weird shit.
Dude, he rides a dude. Or wait, no, a dude rides him as a jet ski, and his farts propel them through the ocean. It's just
okay.
It's so fucking out there, dude. It's so good.
Yeah, somebody did mention here that Bronson is a legit story of a UK criminal.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a true story. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I watched it, because I was like, oh, cool. This is like a true story. And as weird as it is, from what I understand, a lot of that was pretty accurate in the movie, but it was just a weird movie. I don't know. It was just strange the way, I don't know. It was one of those movies that just made me feel a little weird. When I watched it, I was like, oh no.
We were talking about this in the Discord server just yesterday or the day before. Band of Brothers, one of the best series ever made. Period. Fight me. It's so good.
Taylor just went straight to fight me.
I'm serious. It's one
That's
of the
how
only
everybody
things...
in this chat felt when you said that about the Mandalorian. They're like,
well, one thing is I was right about the Mandalorian. Second thing is I'm also right about Band of Brothers.
Oh, Taylor, you're cutting me so deep right now.
Oh man,
like,
I'm just You just have trouble dealing with the truth, Jeremy. It's okay.
I have a hard time dealing with when friends of mine that I'm close with that I think are good guys are really just not. They're horrible joy haters.
No. They're just honest.
Oh, Taylor, you hurt me, son. You hurt me. You cut me deep. You cut me deep.
Hardy
speaking of Tom
Bond.
Hardy, he would be a good Bond, I think.
He's a little rough around the I think he can clean up.
Well, that's the thing. I think he could, right?
Yeah.
Taboo is another one if you've never watched.
Haven't.
It's great. It's a series. Taboo.
You told me about that.
Yeah, really good.
Said, what's the newer World War II movie we watched that was good? Fury.
I hadn't watched that one. That's a Brad Pitt movie, right?
Yeah, it was good. There was Fury, and then there was the Andrew Garfield one that was about some cannot remember what it's called.
Dude, what was the movie?
1917.
That's
dude.
The one.
Yes.
That's all one take.
Well, it wasn't all one take.
It was filmed to look like all one take. Right?
Yeah, there were 30 cuts in the whole movie, and it's 2 hours long.
That's fucking crazy. For that fact alone, you do filming, and we both film stuff and edit. Obviously, not anywhere on the level that this shit we're talking about. But
I counted as many as I could through the whole movie to see. I was right with all the ones that I guessed. I counted 17, so they've hidden 13 more in that movie that are really hard to see.
Dude, it's so crazy. I watched a couple scenes they showed of that movie, and I was like, dude, that is, like I said, from somebody who edits and films and stuff, I can really respect the work that had to go into planning that stuff out. That's crazy.
Dunkirk is another good one, and the one I was talking about, Andrew Garfield, is Hacksaw Ridge. All of those are great. I love war movies. That's my bread and butter, man.
I like war movies, but they're not my favorite genre. I don't like them as much as some people really love war movies. I like war movies. I'm good with them, but I'm not obsessed with them the way some people are.
Travis, yes, it's World War I, not World War II. That's why I was confused. Maybe we're going to go with that. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, I agree. War movies make me sad. He said, but sometimes he likes that, and I get you. Sometimes they're just, it's a little, I have to be in the mood, right? Because war movies are generally kind of downers to them for the most part, especially the good ones that are really gritty and really show the true nature of how fucking horrible war is, right? Like the first scene of Saving Private Ryan, it really shows how fucking horrific that situation was. It's kind of hard to watch sometimes, you know what I mean? You're like, oh God, that's fucking horrible. Those poor guys, you know what I mean? If you don't see that and you don't think, oh my God, those poor dudes that were in that situation, you just don't have a soul, man. You're just a heartless fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Call me old fashioned, but I love a good Western. I do too, but I think a lot of them are hard. A lot of them are hard. The more recent ones they don't quite have the same charm as some of the older ones, but some of the older ones have
now when you say older,
I'm talking John Wayne.
Oh, okay. Would you say to this day, my favorite is Tombstone. That's my favorite Western.
I don't think I've actually seen Tombstone.
Oh my God. What the fuck is happening? What is happening? What is happening? What is happening right now? How have you never seen Tombstone, bro? I'm your Huckleberry? Nothing?
No, I mean, I know the quote, but good, the bad, the ugly, and True Grit.
True Grit was good.
That's some good shit there.
Dude, I'm your Huckleberry. Come on. That's such fucking Val Kilmer, arguably one of his best movies he ever see. Thank you, Chad. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, make a list. I'll watch all this stuff. I need stuff to watch because as we talked on the podcast last week, I'm just over everything.
Arguably Val Kilmer's best role ever. He was so perfect as Doc Holliday. Just so good, man. So good.
Whoops. Black Hawk Down. Really good war movie. It is sad. For some reason, when he said sad as hell, it made me think of one of my favorite movies in the last decade. Maybe even it could have been before this decade. Since I've been an adult, we'll call it that.
The live action version of Pokemon?
Yes. So sad. No. Fucking End of Watch, man. Dude, that fucking movie. Have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Are you kidding me? I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to. You need to watch that movie. It's the two police officers.
End of watch. Have I seen
It's
that?
what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. That's an older movie.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's a little bit older. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. I can't remember the movie very well, but
2012.
But yeah, that was rough.
Dude,
I remember some really fucked up shit happened in that movie, being like, oh my God, dude.
Dude, the end of that movie, like that build up, that whole thing, that whole movie, you're watching it, and then at the end, you're just like,
oh Jesus. How do you that's an interesting topic, and I'll be curious to see what people in the chat say about this, since this is our, hangout. We do the chat stuff more often. How do people feel about movies that end on a down note? I don't generally like it. Sometimes if it does justice to the story, and I understand that's why they had to end it that way, or it wouldn't have been as good, I can deal with it. But in general, I prefer for movies not to end on a down note, because then it's just kind of like, it's a downer, man. You're just you spend all that time and you're just like bummed out. You're like, oh fuck, that sucks, man. Like
somebody in the server mentioned it to me. They just like to feel something.
Right. I agree. But I would rather feel that somewhere in the crescendo of the movie, and then it ends on a little bit of a happier note. Like I don't like to be left feeling sad at the end of a movie.
I hate when you go through this up and down and all this from a movie, and then at the very end, everything is just resolved and tied up neatly, and just everybody lives on happily, because that's not life.
No, it's not. And I don't mean like unrealistic, but I mean just not ending on like a horrific note, right? Like ending on the most down note that leaves you just like, like there's enough of that in real life. Like, why do I want to watch a movie just to be fucking bummed out?
Like 7 pounds.
7 pounds. I don't remember that one.
Will Smith movie from 2008.
I don't think I say that. I don't think I saw that.
Yeah. It was, if you haven't seen it, it's a drama, but it's very good, but it is sad as fuck.
See, Ex Machina, or Machina, however you say that, that was a movie that ended on kind of a down note that I was actually okay with, because it was down, but it was like, it added like a twist that made it good, right? I'm not going to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but that was a down note, but I was okay with that, because it added to the intrigue of the movie. It didn't just end on a down note and just leave you bummed out just for the sake of fucking being bummed out.
My man Kyle knows what I'm talking about. 7 pounds will gut check you.
I've never seen it. Maybe I'll have to watch that. I have not seen that movie.
It's good. I think it starts with, he's either texting and driving or drunk driving. I can't remember, but he tries to rectify what he tries to right his wrongs, and man, it's just it's rough.
I'm trying to think of what movie. There was a movie me and my wife watched not too long ago, and when it ended, we were both like, what the fuck did I just watch this whole movie? And it was one of those movies that not only ended on a bad note.
Was it Mean Girls?
That would be something I'd watch with my wife, her taste. But it was one of those movies that ended on a bad note, and it also ended without resolving anything, right? It just kind of fucking ended, and it was sad and shitty and depressing, and didn't even resolve fucking anything. And you were just like, I don't think my wife's watching the live stream, but if she is, maybe she'll text me. I can't remember what it was, or maybe she remembers. I can't remember what it was.
The Notebook. I don't remember anything about that movie except for like they die together.
I've never watched it.
And then that movie is over.
Exactly why I get to keep my man card, because I've never watched The Notebook. I refuse on principle alone.
Everybody's just mentioning here Will Smith movies now.
I Am Legend was one that I did not. I just don't know why they had to kill Will Smith. I mean, okay, spoiler alert. I mean, it's a really old movie, so I figure most people have probably seen it. Like, you didn't need to do that. He could have lived.
Well, it's like what is that movie with John Krasinski?
Silent or fucking quiet place.
A Quiet Place. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't need to kill.
Like he doesn't need to do that. Like, oh no.
You could have like thrown a can or something. Like, well, what did you have to like? I agree. Like, see, and that's the kind of shit that I say. If it doesn't add anything to the movie, you're just ending it with a shitty thing just for the sake of ending something shitty. Like, I just fucking hate that. It pisses me off.
But it made you feel something, and that's something in and of itself.
I felt something in the beginning of the movie when the guy's poor kid got fucking snatched up because I'm a dad and that fucking crushed me. I was like, oh my God, that's fucking horrible.
Pursuit of Happiness. I've seen that one pop up, but notably, everybody is spelling it wrong. It's happiness with a Y.
Is it?
I don't know why, but they spelled it wrong in the name.
That's weird.
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness has a Y instead of an I.
Huh. I wonder why they spelled it with a Y. That's weird. Happiness.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know, but you can.
John McMillan says, "Fuck that movie. He went out like a bitch." That's such an aggressive statement. That's so aggressive. That's great. I love it. He's like,
if you don't, whoa. What is going on?
See, that's what was happening earlier. I was seeing like these flashes and I couldn't figure out why. I don't know if there's like a weird little glitch on StreamYard tonight or what.
But I think so. Yeah, see? Pursuit of Happiness. It irked me. And the only reason I know that is when I watched it the first time, I'm like, why does it have a Y? It's spelled with an I.
Yeah, but that's weird. Yeah. I'm still laughing at that comment from John. Fuck I Am Legend. He went out like a bitch. It's so aggressive. It's hilarious. For some reason, when people just say like overtly aggressive shit for no reason, it makes me laugh. I don't know why. It cracks me up. Goodfellas classic.
See, now I've got so many good things to go watch now. I've been so just not sure what to watch at night. Wow, I'm sure everybody is loving the sound of you swishing.
It's my whiskey ASMR. First off, if you like scotch and you like Dalmore and you like cigars, you should really get the cigar malt. That shit is delicious. It is the perfect scotch with a cigar. They really did blend that very well. I mean, it's called cigar malt. It was blended on purpose to be good with the cigar, and they did a fantastic job. Very, very good with cigar. Secondly, out of all the movies we said, watch Tombstone first. That's all I'm saying. Just watch Tombstone first.
I don't know. What's Taylor's beef with Star Wars? I don't have a beef with it. I just
beef with Star Wars is he hates joy. He hates puppies. He hates rainbows. He hates happiness.
I just don't. It's never gripped me. Something about like futuristic space travel stuff, like it just.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Taylor, my wife, it doesn't grip her either. But then again, she does have a vagina. So that says something about you. But I'm just kidding. I know a lot of girls that love Star Wars, man. I know a ton of the ladies that really dig the Star Wars.
One of my best friends is, when I say like Star Wars freak, she is a Star Wars freak. She also has worked for Lucasfilm several times. She always works for them for Comic-Con and stuff. And
it's funny.
She's hardcore.
People that are just now joining are still saying you didn't like The Mandalorian. Like, that's so surprising. Like, because it's such a universally loved thing. Like, everybody loves that show.
I know, but you know what?
Hey,
they just need somebody to take a step back and critically think about it, and then they'll probably be in the same camp as me.
Here's the thing. I did step back and critically think about it because I didn't care for a good part of the new 3 movies. Some I had redeeming points, but a lot of the 3 newest movies I was not a fan of. So when they were coming out with this Mandalorian, I'm like, man, this could either. When I watched it, I was watching it fairly critically because in my head I was thinking this is either going to be great because Jon Favreau and the other guy that I can't remember is Dave Filoni are all about it, or it's going to be a complete shit show and it's going to be fucking horrible. So I think I was pretty critical, but I was just really impressed with it.
I think as someone who is already a Star Wars fan, your ability to think critically is largely hindered.
But that's not true, because if I couldn't think critically, I'd be saying that the trilogy or the most recent trilogy was also great if I couldn't think critically. And critically, I think big parts of that suck.
if something is objectively bad, then
It's
you know
not
you don't have
objectively
to.
bad. Some people like it. There are some people out there that
Jeremy,
ride the train.
Jeremy,
Yes.
there are some people who like Mean Girls. That doesn't mean anything.
Hey,
That doesn't prove a point.
that is an epic saga.
Oh man,
I just cracked into this 1926 and it's fantastic.
I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm
Oh.
thinking Statesman.
Something we should touch on.
I'm going Campfire. Sorry.
Something we should touch on. Jeremy, 1926, 70. Where are you? Where can I find them? Okay.
I don't know what you're reading, and you didn't read it out loud, so.
Sorry. He was asking about 1926, how expensive those cigars are up where he's at. Yeah, $70 is fucking bananas, dude. They're like usually, depending on the size and whatnot, somewhere between like 18 and 27 here, depending on the size. Oh, Bourbon Junkies in the house. What up, fellas?
So I hear that Bourbon Junkies was talking shit about my bourbon.
I was telling him, Dan, that we were joking around the phone about, he was talking about the stuff, and Dan's like, man, if he likes those shitty fucking High Wests he's got, I should send him some of the really good High Wests.
That's why I saw him, and that's why I cracked open my High West. In protest, because he also said Mean Girls is fucking amazing.
Dan, have you watched The Mandalorian? I don't remember if me and you have talked about this. I think you should. I think you have. I think
High West Campfire is really good. Just saying.
It is good. No, he wasn't saying that it was bad. I think he was saying that the other one that you had, he's not a fan of.
No, he hates the he said this is trash, the Prairie Bourbon.
Yeah, he doesn't like that one. Let's see. Just got one of the new High West 16-year rye from the distillery. Is it any good? I haven't had any of that kind of stuff.
I need to send some High West samples. Mandalorian was terrible. Where is it? Where'd it go? There it is.
What? What did you just say?
You know what? You have redeemed yourself.
Dan, go fuck yourself. What do you mean it was terrible? Did somebody say Peter McKinnon?
Yeah. Oh. Peter McKinnon on the podcast.
Oh, I thought they were saying he was in the chat. I'm like, dude, I very seriously doubt Peter's in the chat.
No.
That dude's busy as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. Like he ain't got time to be on no chat.
How do you come up with this shit?
I can't, Dan, I love you, bro, but next time I send you a sample, I'm going to pee a little in it. Like that is absurd statements you just make about the Mandalorian being. I think he said that just to fuck with me. I don't think he meant that. I think
he might mean it.
That. I don't think he did. Because you know what, Dan, I know Dan is a good dude, and I can't imagine anybody that's as good of a dude as Dan saying something as fucking ridiculous as the Mandalorian.
Well, it's not ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. The truth, and you refuse to admit it or accept it.
I told you, the only people that say that are people that hate joy.
John Smith said, keep in mind the person who likes Mean Girls hates the Mandalorian. What does that tell you?
Agreed. Oh, okay. I've never seen it. I figured he was fucking with me. I'm like, there's no way he could hate that. You were literally the first person, Taylor, that I've ever met that has watched The Mandalorian and said it was bad.
Well, it is what it is. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
I've never been a fan of Star Wars stuff. Like the only thing of Star Wars that I've ever been super in love with is Masters of Terra Kasai. It's been since I was a kid. Hang on. Masters of Terras Kasai. I think that's what it is. Terras Kasi. I don't know how it's pronounced.
I don't know.
While
you're looking it up, I'm going to say to everybody in the chat. Oh, there you go. I don't know what that is.
It was a PlayStation game.
Yeah, I haven't fucked with the game, so there's parts of the timeline stuff that I don't have knowledge of because they actually kind of explored some of the storylines and stuff in Star Wars in video game form, and I haven't played any of it.
Terras Kasi, I guess. I don't know. This right here was my jam when I was a kid. It's just a side-scrolling fighter, and my cousins and I just would play hours and hours and hours of this when they'd come into town, and we loved it. And that's the only thing in like Star Wars thing that I ever went crazy over. That's it.
I think when I say this, I'm not. Am I allowed to say? Yeah, I think he's talked about it on their podcast. Dan, you guys have talked about your cigar, right? Am I allowed to talk about your cigar? I'm pretty sure that they've talked about it on public. I don't want to talk about it if I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Look at this. Look at this.
So
I
if
hate
you're-
Disney, therefore I hate it. And where'd it go? It keeps jumping on me. Sorry. With Taylor on Mandalorian, sadly, Star Wars feels a bit overrated. I'm not alone.
I mean, you're basically alone. Okay.
I'm not alone.
You're basically alone. There's like you and 2 other people that could potentially have, you know, some kind of brain defect. Like the joy center in their brain is turned off most of the time or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, yeah, you're allowed to talk about it. While Dan is in here, I want to mention the fact that I love Dan. He's my brother from another mother, but I'm a little upset with him because they're about to release a cigar, which somehow they managed to get a cigar release before I was able to get one made. And I've been smoking cigars since I was 2. I've been smoking cigars since before Dan was born, but, and it also is probably one of the best cigars I've had. So it hurts my soul. And at the same time, I'm extremely happy for them because they're my friends. So it's a very, polarizing thing with my heart, but, anybody who's in here smokes cigars, keep an eye out for those cigars. The cigar that the Bourbon Junkies are dropping, because that motherfucker is the thunder. It is so good. Literally. And I say this all the time, but it really is probably one of the top 5 cigars I've smoked in the last year. It is excellent. Excellent. Sour grapes, Father Time. What do you mean? I'm not sour grapes. I appreciate that. Yeah. If you don't send me at least one, I'm going to be upset. A, because it's awesome. And B, that band they're designing is top notch. I dig it. It's good all the way around. It's going to be dude, it's the only cigar I've had in the longest time that I actually got a little bit of like a fruit note in it. It was like a berry kind of flavor in the cigar. And it's not an infused cigar or anything like that, but it's got this distinct kind of sweet fruitiness to it that I've never had in a cigar, unless it was like an acid infused cigar or something, which I'm not a big fan of infused cigars. It is delicious.
Jeremy didn't have a childhood. He was born as a grown man with a beard.
I came out the womb with a cigar and a beard, just like, what's up, bitches? Well, dude, my childhood I was raised in a different era, man. I feel like I was raised in a different era and I was raised in Kentucky. So I just feel like things are a little different up there in like the 70s. You know what I'm saying? Like the 70s.
You know what it means when you say you were raised in a different era, right?
What's that?
You're a boomer.
Well, I mean, nah.
You might as well be.
But I don't know, man. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a little different. Like,
but I was at the cigar loft last week. I was talking to the owner, and one of the things that ended up coming up, I don't remember, but I don't know how we got on the topic, but I feel like I was born probably like a century or two too late. I don't have much in common with a lot of people my age. I mean, I guess I do, but not like on a deep level. Like if I weren't doing YouTube right now as a career, I would probably rather be in like Montana farming. It's just how I feel about it.
Holding that up for Dan so he can see what I'm drinking, because he's the one that told me that I absolutely had to get this for cigars, and he was right. It is delicious with a cigar.
Cigar malt.
Cigar malt. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just funny, you know, going back to like when I was a kid, and I've said this in videos before, like when your gums hurt, they would rub whiskey on your gums. Like when you were teething, when you were a kid, right? When I had a cold,
Jeremy was a kid, they just gave him a glass of whiskey.
Well, dude, they legit did. When I was a kid and you had a cold, they'd give you a hot toddy, which is like honey, whiskey, and lemon and a little bit of hot water. I mean, that's what they gave you when you had a cough when I was a kid, right? Like, I used to smoke my grandpa's pipe when I was like 5. I would sit on his lap and I would take tugs off of his pipe. Like,
my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but see, that sounds like, oh my God, now, right? Because people know like you don't do that shit and blah, blah, blah. But like back then, fuck, dude, you would smoke in airplanes. Like,
yeah,
it's a fucking tube. Whether or not you were smoking or not, you were smoking because you're in a pressurized fucking tube. If one person's smoking, everybody in that bitch is smoking.
It's like this office. Like you can still smell cigarette smoke from like the 80s and 90s from this office.
Right. I mean, it was a different era, man. And like, I just think there was a major switch sometime in like maybe the late 80s to early 90s, like kids that were born then, that like, they're just very different in the way they handle things and feel about things, because they were just raised, and not calling them soft or mean or anything, like they were just raised in a different era. It's just different. You know?
Yeah. Joe O'Sullivan says, Taylor, you drink IPAs like most other millennials.
Yes, he does.
Just
he fucking loves them. I'm just saying.
Because I like something from today doesn't mean that I feel like I should have been born or shouldn't have been born sooner.
Right. You have other aspects other than your IPA-ness.
Like I work in technology.
Why did that sound like I said something about ass? IPA-ness.
Yeah. Please don't try to create words, Jeremy. This does not go well. But no, I worked in technology for so long. Like I became almost like the anti-technology guy. Like I have to have high-end stuff and high-tech stuff to get the job done. But like I said, I'm serious. Like if I weren't doing YouTube, I would be working with my hands, maybe doing woodworking or farming or something. I would not be online at all. Like no Facebook, no presence online at all. But I found this path and I like it. I'm just saying the only alternative for me is like a total 180.
Right. It's weird, man. I try to raise my kids a little more like I was raised in certain things. I don't let them smoke cigars or anything, obviously, or give them whiskey, but I try to I feel like a lot of people they soften kids up a little too much these days. Right. So I'm always trying to do what I can to make sure I'm not contributing to what I call the pussification of America. It's just a thing, I feel like. And I don't know. I do my best to be a good parent and not raise people that are going to be little whiny bitches.
Dustin DiBendetto says, Taylor, where can I get one of those hats? Well, here's the thing about this hat. This hat right here, you can only buy it if you don't have a man card and you don't like Mandalorian and you drink Trulies, and it's only available to us. We're an elite group and we don't like others wearing our hats. So. No, I picked this up from a store at the beach. They're pretty standard now, like these little leather patch hat Richardsons. You find them all over the place, and I found them there's a place called Lebo's near me that sells just the North Carolina one, but this one says brewed. North Carolina brewed, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah. And you can buy them online, I think. Like if you search, I don't know what state you're in, but you can search just about any state. We'll just say Ohio.
Yeah, they make them for every state.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap online.
Somebody said something about the election, then somebody immediately is like, no politics. I agree. We're not going to get into that. This is a safe zone. And I don't mean that in a snowflake way, safe zone. I mean, you're so inundated with politics everywhere you turn that I feel like this should be just a happy, everybody just sit around and drink whiskey and smoke cigars and talk shit and not get into that because it's such a polarizing thing.
Yep. I don't know if any of this is what you're looking for. It's not exactly what I'm wearing, but if you just search, he said Louisiana, you search Louisiana leather patch hat Richardson, you'll find 800 different options. I mean, they're pretty.
There's a bunch of companies that have copied it too.
Yeah, and there's branded bills your branded bills. They've got hats for Ohio. She's shot by state, Louisiana. Branded bills has a bunch of stuff.
Please, no politics. I agree, man. I'm so over politics.
Yeah, see right there.
I think I'm to the point where if I could move up in the mountains away from all of it, I would. I'm just so over all of it, man. I was like, fuck everybody, shut up.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say I want to live in the woods away from everybody and just do my thing, but
it's a rough thing. So that's why we don't get into that too much on here, because it's a no-win situation talking about it. So it's just not worth it. It'll ruin the mood. What no civil war here. That's true, man. I'm telling you, good Lord. See, for God's sake, everybody's like, no politics, no politics. It's like,
For real, this is like
everybody
our
is so
escape.
like, everybody is so done, man. Everybody is so done. It's just like, oh God. Let's see. Do it, Jeremy. You already got that hermit beard down. That's true. I do have the hermit beard. Jeremy already looks like a mountain. I know, right? Like,
no, Jeremy looks like a mountain geezer. Is what he looks like.
It's good, man.
Maybe a mountain tweaker.
Dude, did I tell you about and I know that you guys are going to be like, oh God, come on. Like you're talking about like manly shit and you're going to say this, but did I tell you about the blow dryer brush thing that my wife got? Did we talk about that?
Jeremy, you've talked about that on podcast like 4 times now.
Dude, because it's a fucking amazing what it does for like keeping your beard because dude, like
I'm revoking your man card.
Bro, listen, beard.
You're only supposed to comb your beard with a handmade leather brush or comb that's got like really wide tines. And
here's the problem with that.
I'm just saying,
when I get out of the shower, my beard is seriously like this. I'm not shitting. It's like this big. It comes straight out and it's like this big. It is because I've got a pretty wiry beard. I don't have, some guys have straighter beard hair and they're
mine is super wiry.
Mine is super wiry. And I mean, when it gets this long, like imagine an afro, like, you know, like guys that have afros, imagine that down here. That's what I have. So if I don't do something to like get it under control, it's like, it's just not tolerable. It's not. So I have to do some stuff, but
you got like a Hagrid beard.
That's what it looks like when I get out of the shower. Hagrid. That's exactly what it looks like. It's just this big. It sticks straight out. You can't do anything with it. You can't eat. You can't move around. It's basic. I mean, dude, that's fucking next level. I'm going to have to give that guy props for having like the craziest looking shit I've ever seen.
That is crazy. That's got to be so annoying, man.
So you could, but it's not quite to that level because my beard's not that long. I mean, that's down to his navel.
That's
but yeah, it's
freaking crazy.
It's kind of like that, honestly. It's not too far off of that. Like it's just a fucking fluff muffin, bro. It is just big and puffy.
Fluff muffin.
Yeah, it's just, you can't deal with it. It's just too much. So I have to like, I have to get it under control. And that's why I wear this. I have some people give me shit on video sometimes like, oh, he's got a fucking, and I'm like, bitch, if you ever had a beard this long, you would understand that when they get this long, if you don't tie them up, or I have some friends that like tie them in a knot and shit. Like if you don't do something with them, they get in everything. Like you try to eat soup and they fall in fucking soup. They get all over the place. You got to do something to kind of keep them together.
Jeremy, please say you're a wizard, Harry. Jeremy can't because Harry Potter is one of those sissy things that he doesn't like.
What did you just say?
It's too sissy. He doesn't like it. It's not manly enough. You don't even know where your 9 3/4 tattoo is.
It's right there. I have a 9 3/4 tattoo, bitch. So no, I don't think it's too sissy. And that is actually an homage to somebody. Even though I do love the Harry Potter movies, that's not specifically for the Harry Potter movies. That is, I mean, it is in reference to the Harry Potter 9 3/4, but it's a family homage. Everything on this arm has something to do with my family, and that's kind of like a little wink to one of my family members. So it's not just for Harry Potter, but obviously if I had something firmly against Harry Potter, I would not have it on my fucking hand right there.
Blaine Thomason says the real question is Ardbeg, Lafroig, or Lagavulin. Jeremy and I have talked about this a lot.
We have differing opinions. Taylor, go ahead with yours, friend. I'll let you go first. This is the debate. Ardbeg versus Lagavulin, round 1. Taylor, please deliver your opening remarks.
Well, I think we taste different things, right?
Right.
So you taste a little more iodine, medicinal flavors out of Lagavulin, and I don't. I get different notes out of Lagavulin, and that's my favorite. If I had to choose one to drink forever, it'd be Lagavulin 16.
Right.
It's just more expensive than I want to pay for all the time. But I love Ardbeg 10. Now, the interesting thing is Jeremy finally gave me an opportunity to try some Wee Beastie,
Very,
And
very nice, non getting me in trouble way to say that, by the way.
Exactly. And and he prefers the Wee Beastie over the Ardbeg 10. I actually prefer the Ardbeg 10 over the Wee Beastie.
I think my favorite is probably Ugadal, but it's
Which
a
I
close
haven't had.
neck and neck with Ugadal and the Wee Beastie.
Yeah, see, Lagavulin is my favorite whiskey, period.
Right.
Period. Like, I don't even have a question about it. I love Lagavulin. And actually, my favorite thing, the payoff for me watching all of Longmire was towards the very end of the show. He opens up the drawer and pulls out a bottle of Lagavulin. I'm like, my guy, I knew it. I knew it.
You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. Now, just for my remarks on it, now let me start off because I see a lot of people saying Lagavulin. I have a bottle right there. I love Lagavulin. I think it is an excellent example of very fine Islay whiskey. So just let me get that out of the way so I don't piss any Lagavulin people off. I love Lagavulin. However,
what a fence rider.
However, I personally think, like Taylor said, I get a slightly more medicinal iodine flavor in Lagavulin, which is fine, but I get a more like campfire, smoky, almost meaty, sweet, like smoked meat sweetness out of Ardbeg that I prefer over the iodine medicinal kind of thing. Not that I don't like the iodine medicinal. I just prefer the more like, and it's Ardbeg has this really sweet underlying note that if you get through the smoky peat and all the brine and all that, they're at least the ones that I like the Ugadal, have a lot of sweetness underneath and very little of that Band-Aid chloroseptic medicinal kind of thing. So I lean Ardbeg, but I understand both sides of the argument because Lagavulin is a great whiskey.
Yeah, and I love Ardbeg. Don't get me wrong. I drink that more than anything, probably because I do like it so much. But
and you can get it a little cheaper, right? 10's like $50.
It's half the price. Yeah.
Right.
So I end up going with Ardbeg more often just because Lagavulin is twice as expensive. But yeah, I prefer Lagavulin.
I haven't had it, but I've heard a lot of people say they actually prefer the Ron Swanson, or not Ron Swanson.
Was it 10 or 12 year?
It's younger, right? So it's not, because the normal Lagavulin 16, right? Is 16 or 18?
16.
16. I think it's like 10 or something. It's Opperman. It's not Ron Swanson. It's his character. It's actually
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people say they actually prefer it over the 16.
And see, Mr. Toad says I lean Lafroig. Man, after having so many different whiskeys and then coming back to Lafroig, Ardbeg, and Lagavulin, I can't get behind Lafroig nearly as much as I used to. One, this bottle has gone way up in price. When I first bought my first Lagavulin,
Lagavulin. That's what you need to do, dude. Mix some Lagavulin and Freud. Or Lafroig.
When I first tried it, I loved it. But after coming back to it, I don't like Lafroig nearly as much as Ardbeg or Lagavulin. And I can't remember exactly what it was about it. I think I got a really strong medicinal taste or something. I can't remember. I said it on podcast because I tried it on podcast.
Johnny, I think you're wrong, bud. Nick Offerman is not 16 year. The 16 years their normal offering.
Yeah, 16 is normal.
I'm like 98% sure the Offerman is a younger version. I do not think it's 16. I think it's
11,
9 or 11 or 12, or it's somewhere
11.
in that range.
Lagavulin bag. You know what? It would be worth it to try to mix
Lagavulin bag. We fucking made a new whiskey.
Because this right here, like if I read this label, I would be like, I don't know if that's any good. But they mix rye whiskey, Islay Scotch, and bourbon to make this campfire, and this shit's good. This is what I'm drinking right now, and I really like this.
Yeah, 11. Yeah, they're saying, everybody's saying we're correct or you're correct. It's 11. So yeah, I knew it was younger than the normal offering. I'm about to crack it in my second bottle. This is another one. You guys have heard me talk about the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. I just did a video on them.
Is this the $950
no,
bottle?
This isn't the expensive. This is a new one they just sent me.
Wow. Why aren't they sending me scotches? Because
you don't like the Mandalorian. It's called Easy Lover. It is an 11-year Highland ex-bourbon hogshead, and it was finished in a heavy char new hogshead. So they aged it for X amount of years. I don't know if it had in ex bourbon, which is a lot of scotches are aged in ex bourbon. And then they finished it off. And it's almost kind of like a double oak situation where they finished it in a second barrel that's been heavily charred. And I've heard beautiful things about this. And I only had one little sip of it. By the way, I don't know if Chad is still in the chat. I haven't seen him lately, but dude, we nailed these glasses, bro. We nailed them, dude. I don't mean to like shameless plug, but they're fucking great. It's the perfect weight. I love these glasses. We nailed it.
Ever try Lagavulin 8? Yes, I have. It's good. It's not as good as a 16.
No, I prefer.
I think I'd rather have Ardbeg over the Lagavulin 8.
Yeah, I have had the 8. I didn't mind it. It was good. Better than a lot of scotch that I've had, but I would agree with you. I like the 16 better.
Somebody says that Scotch, what is it? The malt whiskey. I can't remember the name of the club. That's probably why they don't send me stuff. But Brandon is saying they don't send it because I drink White Claws and IPAs.
That could also be it. They heard he drinks White Claws IPAs and he doesn't like the Mandalorian. They're like, he's off the list.
So here's the thing, guys. I don't discriminate liquor or whiskey or alcohol. If it's, I discriminate against tequila because all tequila is bad. All tequila tastes like dirty socks and smells awful. But other alcohols and vodka, I don't like vodka. But everything else, I don't discriminate. I'll try it. I'll drink it. If it's a hot summer day, I'll drink whatever.
Sean Dudley said he just finished, or Dooley said he just finished a Scotch malt whiskey pour, a cask strength
whiskey club.
Awesome but strong. Yeah, it is, and that's one of the cool things about Scotch malt whiskey is a lot of scotches, and I talked about it in my video, a lot of scotches are blended, right? So people hear single malt and they think that means single barrel, and that's not the case at all. Normally it's multiple barrels blended together to get a uniform flavor profile that you're used to, right? And it's oftentimes proofed down a little bit to a standard proof that they think is a good proof to drink it at and all these things. Nothing wrong with that. That's what allows you to get a bottle of Ardbeg 10 and it tastes like the same bottle every time because individual casks are going to have slightly different flavor notes and they have to blend them together to get that uniform. Single malt just means it was all distilled at the same distillery, one distillery, single malt. That's where single malt comes from. Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, though, they pick a single barrel and bottle it. So you're going to get some interesting notes that you wouldn't get sometimes. And they do it completely non-filtered and at cask strength, which while is a little strong for some people, it allows you to taste this thing as it was in the barrel. If it's too strong for you, just put a couple drops of water in it, right? And then give it a swish, give it a minute to integrate and then taste it. And then you could actually get it to where you want it. If you like it a little weaker. I found that I generally like the higher proof because you get denser flavors in the higher proof whiskeys. But I also have found sometimes I put a couple drops of water in something and it really brought out some interesting stuff and sweetened it up or whatever. So, but that's the good thing about getting it that higher proof is you can kind of play around and see where it's good, where once they've watered it down, you don't get to have it at that full proof, I
like to go about 50-50,
water for White Claw and Scotch.
yeah. I like my tonic whiskeys, with some White Claw.
Little tonic White Claw and whiskey.
Oh man, how do you feel about cocktails?
This actually kind of it's definitely a Scotch, but actually I know this is going to sound like very pretentious, but I can almost smell that double charred barreling because it almost has some similar veins in it that I would get from like a double oaked or like a 1920 or a 1910. I'm sorry. Any of those double barreled kind of spirits have a very distinct kind of dark brown sugary sweetness from that second charred barreling that they pick up.
You didn't answer my question.
Mixed drinks, I generally stay away from them. I enjoy a good old fashioned every now and then. I
have 3 that I'll drink.
What's that?
Manhattan, old fashioned. And this one's going to maybe throw you for a little bit of a loop, but a Kentucky Mule.
I don't think I've had one of those. And I'm from Kentucky, so that says something.
So you've had a Moscow Mule, I'm sure, right?
I haven't.
Really?
I'm not a big mixed drink guy, man. I generally drink straight spirits. I'm not a big a lot of the mixed drinks end up kind of making me like I don't
Too much sugar or something.
Yeah, it's too much sugar. Usually gives me fucking acid reflux because I'm old and get headaches and shit the next day. Like the sugar, that's usually what gives people hangovers is all that bullshit sugar and stuff. Like I don't.
So a Moscow Mule is vodka, ginger beer, and lime juice.
Okay.
A Kentucky Mule is bourbon, ginger beer, and lime juice.
Bourbon and ginger ale is a pretty little tasty beverage every now and then if you're in the mood for something a little different. So I don't know if ginger beer is anything like ginger ale, but
the reason I found out about the Kentucky Mule is because I was, when I used to do press trips and stuff, they'll have open bars and they won't always serve just straight liquor. You often have to have whatever they have on their menu, and it's either like Bud Light and some other trash beer and some mixed drinks. So if I'm there, I'm gonna I'll have a mixed drink if it's free. Right. I'll have a few. Something. And man, it was like all they had was like there was some whiskey mixed drink that I didn't care for, and then they had a Moscow Mule and a few other things. I was like, could I do a Kentucky Mule? Because I had heard of it and never tried it. And he's like, I don't know what that is. I was like, literally just Moscow Mule, but instead of vodka, put bourbon in it. And he was like, yeah, I can do that, dude. It's so good. It's super refreshing. I love it. I don't drink mixed drinks very often. I usually drink straight liquor, but yeah, in a situation like that, dude, yeah, all day.
Well, and here's my thing to that is I don't regularly drink them. Occasionally I will, but if I do, I usually have one, right? So like if I'm in the mood for that and we're starting the evening off, I might start the evening off with Uno old fashioned, right? And then switch over just to straight whiskey. Or occasionally, even though I don't like gin, I just generally think gin tastes like garbage. Every now and then with the right gin, it's hot outside, a little gin and tonic. Sometimes maybe, I mean, I can count on one hand the amount of those I've had in the last 5 years.
Dude, I don't even remember what gin tastes like.
It's a little botanical. It's a little
like probably 9 years since I've had gin.
It's a little botanical. It's a little, I tell you, there was a drink that my boy Brian from Pravada Cigar Club did, and I'm probably totally butchering this, but they made how did they do it? I remember it sounded really good. They made a coffee simple syrup by distilling down like coffee and sugar and did some drink that had whiskey with that in it on some ice and stuff. And he was saying it went really great with cigars because coffee goes fantastic with cigars. And then you mix a little bit of that coffee flavor sweetness in with some whiskey. And he said it was delicious with a cigar. So, I mean, I'm not against mixed drinks. I just normally, I pour a little bit of the good stuff in the glass and I go with it. I can't drink whiskey sours, boy.
Dude, whiskey sours just makes me think of 21 again.
Well, I can't. They fucking destroy my stomach, dude. Like, I mean, it's because I'm old. Like, they give me acid so bad.
I went to this bar. It was like a game bar. Like, there was this arcade bar in downtown Concord, and at their grand opening, they were not prepared to make mixed drinks. So they had a menu that had a few different mixed drinks on it, and one of them was a whiskey sour, and this was like 3 years ago, something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it. It was beer or that. So I was like, I'll try it. Dude, they made a whiskey sour with fucking Mountain Dew. It was so disgusting. It was one of the worst things I've ever drank in my entire life. It was so bad.
Man,
really bad.
Can you fucking feel the heat? That is
I don't think we can. No.
That has a lot of flavor. That is really good. But man, it's 55.6. So, 110 or 111 proof. There's definitely some heat on that going from 85 proof, which is the Dalmore. But man, that is some tasty stuff right there.
Hit him in the groin with a banjo. Says Taylor, you like campfires and nature and fall is your favorite season. Get a bottle of Maker's 46 and thank me later. Dude, I've not had anything from Maker's in a long time.
A lot of people swear by the Maker's 46. I don't dislike it, but it's not in my top 20. It's a decent bourbon. I've got no problems with it. I understand why some people like it. It's a very popular one. But I used to be a big Makers fan, and not as much. My palate has changed. You know, I feel like when you drink a lot of whiskey, you go through periods of really liking certain flavors in whiskeys, and then you kind of grow out of that, and then you're into something else, and then you kind of go back into it sometimes.
Okay, so because you said that, I'm going to say something that might surprise you. When we first started talking, what was my stance on whiskey? I'll let you finish.
As far as I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, when we first started talking, the only thing you drank was Lagavulin, and that was the only thing I ever heard you talk about when we first started.
Scotch.
Yeah. That was the only thing you're just like Lagavulin, and can I get a little more Lagavulin? Thank you.
Some Ardbeg. Don't forget the Ardbeg.
Well, you said that it made your whole fucking mouth numb, though. You're like, that shit.
It still does, but I still like it. I can still taste. And now, like, I sit down at night and I'm like, I don't want just peat bombs left and right all the time. Like, if I had to pick one whiskey to drink forever, it would definitely be Lagavulin. There's no question about that. But now I'm like, I don't know. Tonight I want, a little sweet bourbon. It's definitely, I've definitely expanded the horizon a lot beyond just single malt Isla whiskeys all the time.
It all offers something a little different, man. And that's why when people get in the comments sometimes when I'm talking about bourbon that are like all Scotch drinkers, and then they start just talking mad shit about bourbon. Oh, all that's just American trash and blah, blah, blah. The only real whiskey is Scotch. And I'm like, dude, that's just a stupid viewpoint, right? Like, I like Scotch too. Like, they offer very different things, and they're both good for different reasons.
So here's my argument, my counter argument. I'll play devil's advocate for a second, because if you feel the same way about Scotch versus bourbon, might you not also feel the same way about other forms of alcohol, like, say, a White Claw?
Okay, get the fuck out of here. You're just trying to redeem your White Claw, bitch. That's not even really alcohol. That's like the fucking Boone's Farm of the 2020, bro. That stuff's horrible.
Let me tell you, I just have to thank you. You introduced me to the double oaked,
which you love,
but also Old Forester, and dude, I really like the double oaked. But dude, everything I've had from Old Forester, I've been crushing on some Old Forester lately.
It's so good, man. I think Dan and them probably aren't in the chat anymore because I haven't seen them, but they're huge Brown-Forman junkies too, man. They do the shit right, bro. They do it right.
What has it been since we started this podcast? 2.5 months, 3 months?
Yeah, something like that.
All these bottles, I bought all of these except for this, which was just Bullet Rye. And then I've got a few more at home. And then I've got some empty bottles. All of those, and I've gone through like 4 or 5 bottles of Old Forester.
Dude, like, it's a good daily drinker, man.
Going back to it, man.
It's easy drinking. There's nothing like harsh or hard to deal with. It's smooth. It's good. It's got some complexity, but it's got some sweetness, but it also has a little bit of bitterness in there to kind of balance it out, so it's not too clawingly sweet. I mean, it's just a good fucking bourbon.
1920 is my jam. I've not been able to find 1910, but 1920 is.
I think you would feel just as good about 1920 as you do about 1910. It's also
the other way around. Excellent. But this one right here, Statesman, I've said it time and again.
That. I've never tried it.
So the 1920 for me is about $60-$65, something like that. This one is like 45.
Right.
And
it's a little cheaper.
For $20 savings, I think it's well worth it.
What's the really proof on it? 90?
95.
95, yeah. An Old Forester just started doing their single barrel stuff was 90. And from what Dan and them were talking about the other day, I think they're getting rid of all their 90 single barrel stuff. So you won't see any more of the single barrel picks. Like, I don't know if you can see it. It's up, well, I think it's above where you can see. But their single barrel picks were in black bottles. The bottles weren't black, but the labels were black. They used to all be 90. And now they're upping it to 100 proof. So you're only going to have your store picks are going to be 100 proof or barrel strength. Pretty good. Top 5 cigars. Ooh, fuck, man. That's a brutal question. I smoke so many cigars. It would be hard for me just off the rip to pick 5. I will say some because new ones are always rotating in. I'm always finding new cigars that people are giving me, or I'm trying, that I'm always my top cigars are like a ever evolving thing. But I will say one cigar that's been in my top 5 for years, and it probably always will be, is a Liga Privada T52. I fucking love that cigar. I always will. It's just a damn fine cigar. I'm a real fan of a Padron 1926. That's always a banger. For a cheaper cigar, the one that I told Taylor for a more budget stick, I don't know if it's in my top 5, but if you, my top 5 budget, I would say.
I bet I have one right here, don't I?
Where?
In my little case.
You do. For a budget top 5.
Was it the last call?
No, that is one of them though. Budget top 5. AJ Fernandez has a couple in there. I really love those last calls, the Maduro, the darker ones. And I really love the New World Maduro, that one right there. For a budget, those are 2 excellent cigars. I really like that Camacho rum barrel age. I think that's a great cigar.
Man, I racked them up, didn't I?
What else are some really good ones? Oh, I love both the Placencia, not placenta, but Placencia.
Jeremy, let the record show Jeremy likes smoking placentas.
Placencia, Alma Fuerte, and the Alma del Fuego both have recently jumped into my top 5 or 10 because those are just both really good cigars. So yeah, it's tough to pick top 5 because it's ever evolving. But
Michael Gonzalez hit this nail on the head, man.
Dude, it's true. I love cigars, man.
So I was at the ABC store I was trying to buy 2 bottles of liquor. I don't know, month and a half ago, and I called Jeremy and I'm like, hey, what should I buy? I was like, give me like 5 suggestions.
That's tough. Anytime anybody tries to nail me down.
It was like 30 minutes, and he's like, try this or this or this. Maybe you can try this. If you like that, then maybe try this and this, and it like just kept going. And I'm like, Jeremy, I stopped listening like 20 minutes ago. I'm already at the office. I've left. I don't know.
Somebody just said Black Rifle Coffee. Somebody had asked me what my favorite coffee was, and then favorite coffee pairing, and then somebody said Black Rifle. I really, really enjoy Black Rifle Coffee, and Taylor is a little on the fence about Black Rifle because he's mixed. I don't think he's tried it. He's going to give it a whirl, but he's a little weird about the fact that they don't have roast dates and stuff on them. But Black Rifle Coffee's AK-47 blend, which is their espresso roast. Or it's not their espresso roast. It's a medium roast, but it's the one that they blend specifically for espresso, make an espresso. That in a, what the fuck is the thing? What's the thing? I talked about it in my last video. It's 2.5 ounces of espresso with like 1 ounce to 2 ounces of steamed milk. What's that called? I forget it every time. I always forget what it's called. I can't think. It's not a latte. The latte's got a lot more milk in it. It's not a cappuccino. Cappuccino's got a lot more milk. It's only got a little bit of milk, just enough to sweeten it up just a little bit and kind of add some creaminess. It's a very espresso forward drink. But anyway,
macchiato maybe?
No, it's like a macchiato. It's a no, not a flat white. What the fuck is it called? I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Lost me.
Cortado. That's what it's called. Cortado. Yeah. AK-47, Black Rifle Coffee, Cortado with a nice cigar, or another one that I've really enjoyed that's a very easy to find and inexpensive is Lavazza Super Crema. That in a Cortado with a good cigar. And let me just go on the record real quick with saying, I love cigars and whiskey. I talk about it all the time. Basically, every single time I have a whiskey, I'm smoking a cigar with it. However, if I had to pick between cigars and whiskey and coffee and whiskey, coffee's going to edge whiskey out just a tad.
So I have
coffee and cigars is like the perfect pairing.
I have a lot. I have something to say about, or a bone to pick when people say, what's the best coffee? And then somebody comes up with a suggestion.
Right.
It's very, very, very difficult to say this is the best coffee because unlike a cigar,
right,
or a whiskey, or I don't know, just about any other thing, coffee is such a variable. Let's say you have a favorite coffee. You go through, I don't know, you try like 8 different coffees and then you try to go back to that original coffee and it's like 6 to 8 months later, that coffee that you tried originally is not going to be the same.
Right.
Because even if you get the same coffee from the same farm, from the same freaking tree,
right,
but it's been months later and it's harvested again, it's going to be totally different.
Well, I will say, Taylor, just to cut in there, cigars are the same.
Okay. Well, I'm not very super familiar with cigars. I can imagine
whiskey, not as much. They've gotten pretty good at getting that, but even cigar blenders will tell you from year to year, their crops will be slightly different. And what they try to do is try to blend a cigar to be as similar as they possibly can to what it was the previous year. But anybody who really gets deep into cigars, they'll tell you that certain years of certain cigars oftentimes are a little better one way or the other because they can't perfectly match it because it's an agricultural product. Right.
Right. And I kind of figured when I was saying that, I was like, cigars probably could be the same, but
right.
Because there's so many processes there that there's so many variables and everything's always different. Right. But with coffee, like they can't even really try to make something the same. Right. They could try, but it's pointless because like the temperatures are different. The way
how
that they process
it.
Yeah.
Me and you were talking. I have recently found out that I am a bigger fan of naturally processed coffees over washed coffees. I not that I don't like washed coffees. I think Black Rifle coffee is all washed, but some of the natural process stuff I've been getting lately, right, where they actually let the bean ferment, the fruit ferment on the bean, and then they get it off that way. They don't use like a water. I'm probably going to botch this. People that really know a lot about coffee are like, dude, you're not describing that well. But basically there's a washing process they do to get the fruit off the bean, or they naturally let the bean ferment and it comes off. From what I understand, it adds a little more like sweetness, I believe, to it when it's naturally processed. And I actually prefer a naturally processed. But to your point, there's so many variables that it is hard to pick.
Yeah. So when somebody asks what's the best coffee, I typically have a few roasters that I recommend. Because historically, after trying hundreds of coffees, I always want to go back to them.
Right.
The Q says no roast date is a no-go. I feel like a lot of people like Black Rifle Coffee Company as a lifestyle brand. Yeah, and they do market and appeal to
sure. And I totally understand that opinion. But I will say this from a guy that is fairly coffee snobby, and I get a lot of coffees with roast dates from roasters all around the world. I'm in Trade Coffee and they send me shit from high altitude, different places, different naturally processed, washed, all different single origin regions and all this stuff. I will say Black Rifle holds up pretty fucking good though, man. It is a good coffee. It definitely is a lifestyle brand and I get that opinion, but they do produce a nice, even, it's the same every time. It's very tasty. And while if you're like an extreme coffee snob that only drinks single origin stuff and all this, you may not, but I think for 95% of the people out there, they're going to love Black Rifle coffee.
Right. And see, that's what I was. I'm not now nearly as much. I just go to the coffee shop every day because I've gotten lazy since having a kid, but yeah, Tyler says Black Rifle is not great by coffee snob standards, but it's a fantastic alternative to Starbucks / supermarket coffee brands.
And that's why I said I think 95% of people are going to think that it is fantastic. I think even a lot of coffee snobs would think it's a pretty damn good cup, right?
Benjamin, I just got a bag of Messenger coffee at home. So Trade actually sent me 3 bags of coffee. One is PT's coffee, one is Messenger coffee, and I cannot remember what the other one is, but
dude, get some of the Panther from Colombia. I'm telling you, that shit is fucking delicious.
It may be that. I don't have to send a picture.
It's a naturally processed coffee from Brazil called Panther. I'll send you a picture of the bag so you can get it from. I got it from Trade. It is fucking.
That may be what they sent me.
Super chocolatey. Great.
I'll check it when I get home. But what the 2 or 3 coffee brands? The one I always recommend, no matter what, is Brandywine. Brandywine
you've
coffee.
Talked about that numerous times. I've never had it, but you're always talking about it.
They are experts at the way they do. Onyx is also really, really good. And Sight Glass is another really good one. The thing about the coffee thing is I was super, super deep into coffee for like 2 years. And ever since the Best Damn Coffee died and I shut that down, and ever since having a kid, I'm just happy to get my coffee every day. You know, I don't nerd out about it, but the idea is when I get my new studio, I have a coffee bar at home, and I don't use it a lot because I'm not there a lot. So I run out the door in the morning, and then I go by the coffee shop, and then I go to the office or here. And when I get to that new studio, I want to have a coffee bar with an espresso machine and everything, and I want to do it again. I want to do pour overs.
You want to do the damn thing in your own channels.
I can't do that here. I don't have running water, and I would not trust the water out of this faucet here. So,
I to answer a question that I saw a while ago, in case we get off this theme before I get to it, somebody said, "What's my favorite brew method?" Espresso is my favorite. I love espresso drinks. It depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I go just espresso, nice little double shot of espresso if I'm in the mood for something nice and bold and stout. Oftentimes I do go with like a cortado, which is, like I said, like it's just got a little bit of milk in it. It's very espresso forward, but has quite a bit of espresso in it. But that's by far my favorite.
Daniel Golden asks, "What's the Terminator coffee I make?" And I think you're referencing the coffee drink that I took to Rick and about killed him that day.
Yeah. Isn't it called John Wayne, not Terminator? I thought it was John Wayne coffee.
Yeah, we called it John Wayne, or the I call it the 2 and Brew now. Because for the new people, John Wayne was a little too ambiguous. So that one is a 16-ounce cold brew with 2 shots of espresso in it.
Yeah, that's a lot of caffeine, bro.
I drink one of those every day. And if the other drink I get is the Buck Martin, that's the other one. That is basically just 4 shots of espresso as an Americano. So
yeah,
a large Americano with 2 extra shots.
That's a lot of caffeine too. I've seen a couple people talking about Pete's coffee. I hate to say, because Pete's my buddy. I love Pete. He's the greatest guy ever. And he is a huge coffee snob. I'm sure his coffee is excellent. I've never had it though. I have not tried.
Is he talking about
the Golden Hour?
Oh,
I'm sure he's talking about the Golden Hour.
No, I thought he was talking about Pete's Coffee. Like Pete's Coffee is a brand, but it's P-E-E-T, not P-E-T.
Oh, maybe he is talking about that. I figured he was talking about Peter McKinnon stuff.
Maybe because right above it was James Coffee Company, which is Peter's Coffee. But I've not tried his coffee either.
I hate to say that I haven't, because he's my boy and I like to support my friends and everything. But I've never had the Golden Hour stuff. I'm sure it's excellent though, because he's a pretty devout coffee snob. So
yeah,
I mean, dude, he had a Linea Mini. That's like a fucking $5,000 espresso machine.
All right, one last small pour to finish it out. What do I go? I'm going like wide range here. Either Michter's Rye, which I've not had in a long time.
It's really good, sweet, nice, little spice.
Lafroig.
Fucking totally different ballpark. Ashtray.
Or Port Charlotte. Like
here, just lick this, and that'll be that. Just there you go. Just get a little lick of that. It depends. Do you want to blow your palate out right here at the end of the night and just go with Port Charlotte? Dude, I was really upset, by the way. I purchased a kind of pricey bottle that I thought was going to be here in time for the podcast tonight. I was going to have it on the podcast for the first time because I've never had it. It's something, and I told you about it. This is something that I've wanted for at least 6 or 8 months. I've hunted, and I normally don't buy alcohol online, other than like through the Scotch Malt guys, because that's a new thing I just started. But I've never really ordered a lot of online liquor because I live in a pretty good whiskey area that I can normally find stuff here if I just am a little patient and hunt. But I've been trying to get Octomore for at least 6 or 8 months, and I just cannot get a bottle of it locally. So finally I pulled the trigger and ordered a bottle of Octomore the other day. I thought it was going to be here for the podcast tonight. I was going to crack that baby open. It is the most heavily peated Scotch. That's their thing. But it's made by the same people that make Port Charlotte. That is, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that made by what's the people that make Octomore? I'm brain fart. What's the distillery on there?
Bruichladdich.
Bruichladdich.
Yeah. Okay.
Bruichladdich, actually.
Yeah,
I think it's pronounced Lottie at the end. You don't pronounce the sh at the end. It's Bruichladdich.
I was pronouncing it as a German would, I guess.
Yeah, Bruichladdich is because they have one called the basic Lottie or something like that.
You can't tell me that this does not just straight up
look
like a medicine bottle. Right.
It does.
Does that mean it's medicine?
I mean, it's got some. It's a fairly heavily peated The Port Charlotte's there heavily peated, but here's the thing: as heavily peated as that is, Octomore is way more heavily peated than even that. So just to get an idea of how smoky and peated.
This one says heavily peated on the bottle,
right?
So,
and Octomore is like 5-10 fold that. So
hey,
just imagine.
Do you think I could bring this back from the dead?
I've told you, you can. It might not be as good if you put that in your little airtight thing with that Bovita pack for like a couple months and really give it time to just reacclimate. It will get back to being in good smoking condition. It may not be as good as it was if it would have never dried out real bad, but you can definitely get it back to smoking shape. You just got to give it time.
I don't have cellophane, but
no, you don't need to. You don't want any cellophane. Cellophane actually slows down the humidification exchange process. So
am I supposed to take these others out of cellophane?
That is an age-old argument in the cigar community on too cellophane or not too cellophane.
Because all of these I still have in the cellophane.
You can. Doesn't hurt them.
I'm going to take them out. I feel like if they're out of the cellophane, I'm going to be more likely to smoke them.
Yep.
It's just like a... Depends if the wrapper cracks during rehydration.
Yeah, that's a good point. Normally, if you do it with a Bovita pack slowly, normally they don't. Sometimes they will, because when they dry, they contract, right? And those wrappers are very dry, and as they start to absorb moisture, they will swell, and sometimes the wrappers do crack.
But so that's what I'm using. There are 69 Bovita.
Best humidification in the world. Don't give a fuck what anybody says.
I take the one off. Take off the one I'm planning to smoke next. Well, for me, I think the next one I'm going to smoke is the Last Call.
Yeah, the Last Call is good. It's going to be a little stout for you. Any of those AJ cigars they got a little pepper, they got a little oomph on them, but they're good cigars.
Like I said, I'm a little
Eating is key.
I'm a little worried about this one, and it's just like a brain trick, right? The dark cigar, like. It's a dark one.
You know, that's another one we talked about, though, earlier. Me and you were talking about. People think dark means aggressive, like crazy cigar, and some dark wrappered cigars are sweeter than lighter wrappered cigars. They're don't get me wrong, there are plenty of dark wrappered cigars that have a lot of ass on them, but there's plenty that are just as smooth and easy to smoke as anything else. That's just something that people
doesn't even smell like anything.
No, because it's just dried out, man. If you put it in there, it'll probably
like reconstitute.
It should. Most of the time you can salvage them. Like the one guy said, sometimes they will crack and then you're fucked. But
it cracked on the end. I mean, I didn't. It's not all cracked, but it cracked just sitting it down in there because it's so brittle.
So brittle and dry. Yeah. So you're going to have to be careful with it because those wrappers get very brittle. Wrappers are pretty thin, especially on lighter colored cigars. Thicker, darker wrapper cigars like Connecticut broadleafs are notoriously very leathery, thick wrappers, and they're pretty tough. But you get into like a lot of your Connecticut's and stuff, man, those things are just paper, just super thin, and they're very, very delicate. They break, rip, tear. They're you drop one and you're fucked. That thing blows into 100 pieces.
Yeah. See how that one goes. I mean, if it falls apart, I don't really care. It was given to me like a long time ago. So
dude, somebody just smoked a Cookie Monster. Come on. That's a good cigar, man. I had one of those yesterday. That is a good cigar.
Money and health wise, I've tried not to get into cigars yet. Money wise, they can get pricey.
You know, and that's funny. He says health, and you know that's another topic we can get on, right?
I think it's one of those things that's debated, and I know you say it's much healthier than a cigarette, but
there's no debate on that. It's healthier than a cigarette. Yeah. If you're smoking in a well ventilated area or outdoors, right? Now there's a caveat. If you're smoking in a 10 by 10 room with no ventilation and the whole room is filling up with smoke and you're just sitting in there, then arguably maybe not much better than a cigar because you're inhaling all that smoke. But if you're in a room like I'm in, where I've got like fucking 1,800 cubic feet of minute air getting pulled out of this room, plus an air purifier, there's no smoke in this room. Like it's as good as smoking outside. You're not inhaling the cigar, so you're not bringing that down into your lungs. So, you know, arguably the smoke in your mouth and, you know, gets in your spit, you can swallow it. very minor increased risk of throat and mouth cancer. But like the lung stuff and all that, like it's really negligible.
So we've started, me and my friends, some local business guys, in the last 2 Fridays, we just go to the cigar loft and have a cigar in the middle of the day. And it's been
nice, isn't it?
It's been pretty fun. I hate that we're still currently in the middle of this pandemic because the owner can't pour, so he can't have any whiskey. So that's a little downer, but I mean, it's still fun.
I have heard people argue that the negligible increase in health risks from cigars, being that mouth stuff I was talking about, is outweighed by the health benefit of the relaxation you get from just unwinding for like an hour a day and having a cigar and just fucking chilling. There's something to be said for that, dude.
Well, I don't know if it has a quantifiable health increase, but for me, those 2 times at the cigar loft in the last 2 weeks have been extremely nice. Just to be able to talk and like clear my head, get some of those thoughts that I've had out with other business owners who are like, they're going through similar stuff or have been through it, and I can talk through it with them and they can give advice. I can give advice to them. It's just been a really good way to.
It feels great. It's almost meditative.
Like I had a lot to do today. Like I was rushing to get this video finished, but while the video was uploading, I was like, yeah, I got some time. I'll go to the cigar loft. So the video was uploading. I did all my work and I was waiting on it to finish. So I went and had a cigar. Then I went home, had some dinner, came back, finished the video, hopped on podcast. I mean, it's been a busy day, but I mean, just to take that hour and a half to sit back and not be stressed at all about anything was really nice. Being able to pair that with some whiskey.
Smoking a cigar and having a little pour of some whiskey or a nice little cup of coffee and just sitting and unplugging and unwinding. It is just as busy as people are these days in a world where it's just so much shit going on, just to slow down for like an hour a day and just kind of chill and relax and enjoy a cigar. I'm telling you, man, in my opinion, I'm no doctor, but
Dr. Jeremy here, guys.
That is far more important and healthier for me to get that mental sanity and get that stress relief than the minuscule amount of increased risk in mouth and throat cancer you get from a cigar. So, again, no doctor. That's just me. Dude, my doctor doesn't even care. And I've talked to him about it. He doesn't even care that I smoke cigars. I talked to him about it today. I was actually had a doctor's appointment today. We were talking about it because my dad has lung cancer. Well, it's not lung cancer because the lung was taken out, but it's a long story. We won't get into it. It's kind of personal, but he is, dealing with cancer from smoking cigarettes for 50 years, 60 years. And, we were talking about him and his treatment and what was going on with my dad, because he's my dad's doctor also. And I was telling him about that I smoke cigars, and he's like, man, I don't even care if you smoke cigars. Just don't smoke cigarettes. Just fucking don't smoke cigarettes. Cigarettes are horrible. He's like, that is the worst thing. Like, they're so bad. He's like, you want to smoke a couple cigars a day or whatever in moderation, which, I might go a little past moderation on the cigar sometimes. He's like, fucking have at it. Just stay in a well-ventilated area and move on with your day.
After a few small pours, you guys are more agreeable, relaxed, productive, and the conversation is.
Yeah. Somebody asked me how long
just to derail that, the Mandalorian sucks.
You cocksucker.
Moving on. Dr. Sire's medicinal doctor. No, it is Dr. Sire's placenta doctor.
Placenta
That's exactly,
doctor.
Yeah,
Thank
placenta
you. Yes.
doctor.
Somebody asked me how long I dipped. I dipped on and off for from the time I was like 15 till I was probably
at least 60.
Till I was like in my early 30s.
60.
So 15, 20 years on and off though. It wasn't like a constant thing. I dipped for a few years and I stopped and I dipped. And at one point I smoked cigars, smoked cigarettes and dipped. And I was like, okay, there's far too much shit going on here. Like, I need to calm the fuck down. It was funny.
That is a mouth cancer cocktail, dude.
It was funny is that at the time, I also was a personal trainer and owned a part of a gym. So like, I was probably I ran, sprinted, did HIIT training, lifted weights, deadlifted. I was probably the healthiest I was in my life muscle wise and stuff, but then I was killing myself with cigarettes and fucking dip, which is like the dumbest shit ever. But
I've never smoked a cigarette ever.
I did quit all that stuff though. Dip actually scared me.
I've never dipped or smoked a cigarette, and until recently I'd only smoked like 2 cigars in my life. So
Dude,
it just wasn't a thing. I come from a tobacco town, and it was just like a big turnoff for me because everybody was just hardcore into it. Like friends of mine with Camel Joe tattoos on them, like it was a thing, and I was not about it. I was just over it. So
dipping was glorious, dude. I used to really enjoy dipping. I was a Skull Straight man. I didn't like any of the flavored, straight as a flavor, but I didn't like any of the wintergreen or mint or any of that shit. I just like Skull Straight or Copenhagen. Usually I went with Skull Straight because I could go long cut and it was a little easier for me to hold it together. The Copenhagen was such a fine grind that it would get loose real easy in your mouth. You'd end up swallowing half of it. But yeah, dude, to this day, I would throw in a big old fucking just wad of Skull Straight, just have my lip all puckered out because that shit is delicious, man. It is so good. But it's the amount of risk. Now that is a high risk of mouth and throat cancer because you've just got a fucking wad of tobacco in your gum. Like that's why I stopped doing it.
Nobody in my family ever dipped at all except for my grandma back when I was,
That's awesome.
Well, my great grandma actually, when I was a kid, she was all about that snuff, man. Dude, she had a spittoon and it was about 3 feet from her couch and you'd walk in and she'd hit it, dude. Ding. Fucking 4 or 5 feet away. Just, yeah. That was the only person in my family that ever did any kind of dip or chew.
I always kept a coffee cup, a disposable coffee cup with a lid, like the lid with its little sip hole. I would put a wad of paper towel down in it and then put the lid on it. And nobody would even know I was dipping because my beard disguises the bulge in my lip quite a bit. And then I just put the coffee cup up to my mouth and I would spit into the little hole in the coffee cup. And I mean, I would be like at work doing stuff and people just think I was drinking my coffee. They didn't even fucking know I was dipping. But like I said, the risk of lip and gum and throat cancer with dip is pretty high. So I tried to cut all that stuff out of my life and I just settled with cigars and whiskey.
Well, I've enjoyed a few cigars in the last few weeks, and
well, it's funny. What was the question you asked me earlier?
I don't know.
Taste.
Oh yeah, I said, do you ever get used to the smell and taste after the fact? Because like, I smoked a cigar today at 3:30, and I will wake up tomorrow morning. It'll be all up in my sinuses and nose. I can just smell it and taste it, and it doesn't go away. And it does stick in the beard a little bit, but on my hands, like I can still smell that cigar on my hands. I said, does that ever go away? And you're like, what are you talking about?
I was gonna say, what was my answer to that question?
What do you mean?
I was like, what taste?
Yeah.
I never stopped smoking cigars long enough to notice it's gone.
Like Art says, gotta drink lemonade, but like I can get it out of my mouth, right? So brushing teeth or whatever, I don't mind it. It's not that bad, but in my sinuses is where it bothers me. Like when I wake up the next morning, and I think it's just because I snore in my sleep, but I feel it all up in here, and it's just like, oh.
See, I don't get that at all.
Yeah, but you also don't have a break from it, so you're like nose blind to it.
Well, I could be nose blind to it for sure.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: cigar smoke doesn't have the same effect cigarette smoke does, right? Like I'll smoke a cigar in my wife's Tahoe, and the first time I did it, she about lost her shit. She's like, "My fucking Tahoe is gonna stink," because she can smell it. She smells it on me. She's like,
smoking glove.
And dude,
just one glove.
Just one glove. Get the Michael Jackson glove. It's just be fucking pinky out, Michael Jackson glove, smoking jacket. But like as long as I have the windows down in my wife's SUV, I can smoke a cigar in there. And when she gets in it, she says she can't even smell it. And she's a non-smoker. Like, she can smell it on me, but cigar smoke doesn't tend to. Cigarette smoke has a very distinct way of like getting into shit and really making stuff smell.
Yeah, I'm not fucking snorting the cigar, guy. You do breathe in some of that smoke while you're sitting around smoking, and it does go up your nose. And that's what I'm talking about. Like when I was a kid, my eyes would swell shut when I would go in a room that was really like people were smoking cigarettes. Like I don't know if it was an allergic reaction or what it was, but my eyes would swell shut and they would water and I couldn't see.
Son of Russ, he's saying you are retrohaling too much. I don't think he even retrohales, Russ.
I don't even know what the fuck a retrohale is.
Retrohaling, right? So retrohaling, half of taste is smell, right?
Yeah.
Like just like if you go like this and try to taste something, you can't taste it, right? Like when you're a kid, you tell your kids to plug their nose when you're trying to get them to take medicine because they don't taste it. Your nasal, there's a word for it that's not coming to my mind right now, but your smell is part of your taste. So just puffing a cigar, because you don't breathe it down into your lungs and all that, just putting it in your mouth and blowing it out, you're only getting like half, right? So there's a technique you do when you're trying to really pull the flavors out of a cigar where you blow some of that smoke out of your nose, right? So so you take a pull. You blow most of it out your mouth, because if you blow the whole puff out your nose, it's going to burn. But at the very end there, when there's just a little bit left, it's kind of hard to explain because you don't bring it down into your, people are like, well, that means you have to inhale it. You don't. You like close off with your tongue and force it out your nose instead of coming out your mouth. And then because you brought it out your mouth and your nose, you're getting the smell, and you can pull out some flavors in a cigar that you often, when people are saying, oh, I get, a little bit of chocolate or I get a little bit of baking spice. And you're like, well, fuck you. All I taste is tobacco. Like sometimes you have to do a little bit of that olfactory sensory. That's, I think, what I was looking for.
And no, it's not that, because I didn't do that at all, but it's just being in the room and smelling it. And you do inhale some of that smoke just naturally from being around it. So,
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's just snoring. Honestly, I think it's snoring after the fact. Like, that's all I can really think of.
Right. And somebody said like 5-10%. Right. Like in some cigars, it's hard to even do 5 or 10%. You get into like a super all Nicaraguan peppery, just punch you in the fucking face kind of cigar, and you retrohale, it still burns a little bit. Some cigars you could blow almost the entire puff out your nose and it wouldn't burn. Not that I would recommend doing that, but you can. But yeah, normally it's just little wisps. So you can almost get the same effect by not even blowing any actual smoke, but just by blowing all the smoke out your mouth, and then before you're done, just breathing the air left out, you still kind of get the remnants of it. If the actual smoke burns you too bad. But yeah, it really does allow you to get a lot of flavors you don't get just by smoking the cigar normally.
That makes total sense. I did do my first V cut today. I think I still like the straight cut.
It depends on the cigar, man. I get it. So, straight cuts are good. Like
I got a lot more, I don't know what you call it, just tobacco coming off in my mouth
with the V cut.
Yeah,
really. Normally it's a little bit of a cleaner cut, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it could be. It depends on, usually you shouldn't get a lot of tobacco in your mouth, because a long filler cigar, it's whole big long leaves, and you really shouldn't get a lot of little bits of tobacco in your mouth.
Probably did it wrong, but I didn't do it as wrong as bad as my friend. I told you about him, right?
Oh, dude, yeah, you told me that. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
We went to the cigar loft last week, and he cut off the end with the cutter, and then he took the lighter and lit the cut end.
Dude, here's the thing. You don't ever want to make fun of anybody that's getting into cigars and does something wrong, right? Because you don't want to make anybody feel stupid for trying to get into something they're not into.
Right.
You want to encourage people.
We talked about that at the time. Like I said, I don't like gatekeeping, right? Like if it's your first time, fine. Like we can laugh about it. I wasn't making fun of him, but it was funny, right? It was just funny. He was laughing about it, but yeah, somebody told me to get the Calibri straight cutter. I got or V cutter. I got the SV cutter, so I have a straight and V.
Yep.
So,
and then you see some people in here punch. There are some people that are strictly punch cut guys. I do a little bit of.
I've not tried a punch, but the torch
punch is probably the cleanest.
Yeah,
because you're literally just taking like a little hole at the end of the cigar, so there's really not a lot of mess. My only thing with punch is sometimes if a cigar doesn't have a great draw and then you punch it, a lot of times I'll start with a punch, and then if I'm not getting a good enough draw, I'll try to double or triple punch it. And then if I'm still not getting a good enough draw, I'll go to a V cut, because oftentimes if you have a knot in a cigar or a plug, a lot of times it's right here at the end where they cap it off. And sometimes the V cut will cut through that and allow you to get a better draw if you're not getting a good draw.
Well, I tried the V cut because I hadn't tried it, and I have this torch that has a punch in the bottom of it. So the next one I smoke, I'm going to try a punch, unless it's this last call, which maybe is a little small. I don't know. Maybe it's not. It seems like it might be. Is it? Because I know you're saying like a V cut is pretty. It plays better for a bigger gauge.
Yeah, you don't want to be going and especially a Calibri deep V. It's such a deep, large V cut.
I was like, am I?
No, this is too deep. You bury it down, man. You just put it in there until it hits the stop. But like with a smaller, like a Lancero or something, sometimes it can get a little aggressive to V cut it, because you'll just fucking like V cut half the end of the cigar off, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a thing.
Yeah, because this wouldn't be too bad. This is enough, I think. Wouldn't cut too bad. I want to smoke it, but it's too late in the podcast, and I have no ventilation.
I do a Mickey Mouse V. I do the Mickey Mouse cut on some of them too, because of
Mickey Mouse.
Well, the punch cut leaves little circles. So if you do one circle and then go up to the left and then up to the right and do two slightly overlapping, you end up like a little shape that looks like a Mickey Mouse. I've done those. I've also done the crown cut. You can do a crown cut with a V cut where you V cut it this way, and then you turn it 90 degrees and V cut it again, so the end of it ends up looking like a crown.
That seems aggressive.
I've usually only do that when I'm having a hard time getting a cigar to draw properly. I'll try to V cut it again to see if I can open some stuff up and clear out a plug or whatnot.
I wasn't having trouble with draw or anything today, but I was having trouble keeping it lit. It's probably because I talk too much, though.
Depends on the cigar. It happens to me in videos when I'm reviewing them all the time, because I'm talking to the camera, because obviously I don't want there just to be a bunch of dead air sitting there watching me smoke.
It was that Camacho rum barrel.
The thinner gauge cigar, the quicker they go out, because that cherry, there's less mass there to keep it going, and they'll go out a lot quicker. Bigger cigars tend to stay lit a little better most of the time.
All right, as a noob here to the cigar world, Art keeps asking about purging, and then Steve said I purge every pull or two just to get the heat. What's a purge?
Purging is when you blow out, right? So a lot of people swear by, and there's even a technique in which you light while you're. Can you see that flame that like sits on there?
Yeah.
There's the method of the lighting and purging, and then some people just believe that blowing out of the cigar purges some of the stuff that kind of starts to build in. I've heard a lot of people say, if you're going to set a cigar down and you know that it's going to go out because you need to go away, take a dump or something, and you're going to be gone, it's going to go out, that before you leave to purge it real good, that blows all that stuff out, so that when you go to relight it, you don't have all that stale shit that's just sitting, all that stale smoke sitting in the cigar, kind of making it nasty and acrid while the cigar goes out. I don't know. It's hit or miss for me. I've tried it. Sometimes if a cigar has a weird taste, I'll try purging it to see if that makes it better, but I don't religiously do it or anything.
This torch, I don't know if you saw it. I mean, I know you did, but this thing is intense. Like lighting a cigar with this thing, like blowing towards your face, is no joke. This thing is. You
don't want to always put the cigar right in that shit either. You can
you can hold it away, and when you draw it, kind of pulls the flame into it. Yeah,
right, exactly.
I did straight into it the first time I used this thing, so I'm like, and I was like, it was just like bump lit, and I'm like, okay, got it.
I don't ever point it at my face, because with my beard and then all the beard oil that I put in it, like I've basically got like a torch right here, and I will go up like Michael Jackson, bro. Just
that. I'm sorry, but that would be funny as long as you didn't get like seriously burned on your face. But like if we ever see a video with Jeremy without a beard, we know what happened.
Oh, dude, I've done it. I've burnt my beard, certainly with cigars and stuff. I've dropped a cigar and it's hit my beard and burnt like a little spot out of it. I've definitely, when I've smoked a cigar too far down because I've really enjoyed it, I'm smoking just the last little nub of it, I've burnt my mustache quite frequently. I used to joke around and say, I know that's when I need to put it out, is when I start hearing mustache hair's crackling. I know that I need to stop smoking it. It's too far down.
Dude, I can't get too close. I mean, I think I smoked it down to probably about that far today, and I was like, I don't know how you hold on to this anymore. I don't have a.
You got to get a nubber.
I don't have one.
It's a little nubber. Somebody had mentioned pipe tobacco. I smoke a pipe occasionally. Pipes are very good, man. Like pipe tobacco tastes really nice, especially some of the aromatic stuff, like some of the stuff like your grandpa used to smoke. Get some. One of my favorites was Lane BCA. Was one of my favorite pipe tobaccos that I used to smoke quite a bit. Stuff is delicious. It was a black Cavendish tobacco that was really, really good. But like the gentleman said in the comments, pipes are just a little fiddly, man. There's a lot of like, which is part of the process. But at the same time, like there's a lot of, you got to tamp it, you got to light it, you got to try to keep it lit. And as you're going, you got to tamp it because it gets loose. And it's definitely a little bit more of a fiddly, meticulous process to smoking a pipe than just lighting a cigar and letting her rip. But pipe tobacco, and most people do not get mad if you smoke a pipe. Like there's a saying, right? Like you light a pipe, you make a friend. You light a cigar, you make an enemy. Because cigars have a very kind of pungent smell, where pipe tobacco usually has this super like nice kind of, I don't know the word for it, but like it smells good. Like
pipes are cool.
Pipes are fun.
Like they're cool too. I would like to have a pipe, but I don't care to smoke a pipe. But I mean, I have nothing against it. It's just, I don't know. It seems too much work for me.
I think I was
getting one. I just think that they're really cool. Like handmade pipe is just really neat.
Oh, yeah, here's some of that Lane BCA. I got some right here in this mason jar right now. Oh yeah, dude, that stuff smells so fucking good. I don't know if you can see how dark that stuff is.
But it's dark.
Dude, it smells so good. It smells like that stuff your grandpa used to smoke. I mean, it really. I think I have some pipes in this thing right here.
My grandpa never smoked a pipe, but a guy I went to church with, every time you ever saw him, he was chewing on his pipe.
It's a couple of pipes. There's a little, I forgot what this shape is called. I used to know all these pipe shapes. Now I can't think of what it's, but that's like a curved one. That's a little, that's called a Devilance. I actually remember that. It was made famous by Devilance, the guy. You know, Devilance, the McCoy, what the fucking, the famous feud, the
Hatfields and the McCoys.
Hatfields and the McCoys. Yeah. That's a little stubby fucker. That's for when you're doing stuff, because it's easy to clench. You can just keep that in there and just go to work. It doesn't get in your way. This one is actually made out of, what is this stuff called? Morta. The material this is made of, it's like wood that is in the bottom of like a bog. It's like 1,000 years old or some shit. And it almost petrifies. So it's like black. That's wood. It's like black and it's super light. It almost feels like pumice or something with the lightness of it. But yeah, it's like really old petrified bog oak. It basically is
really cool. I kind of want a pipe, but I mean, I just feel like it's too much work.
Well, next time I see you, just pick one. I've got about 30, so I'll let you have one. I've got a ton.
You could just mail one to me, and
I could.
Then again, it's probably likely that I will come see you before you make it to the post office again. We know how you are.
I just shipped you something, Taylor. We won't say what I shipped you.
Yeah, but how long did it take?
Somebody was talking about Dagner pipes. All three of these are Dagner pipes. This is a Dagner pipe. That's a Dagner pipe. That one still had some tobacco in it. That's a Dagner pipe. This is a Rick Black pipe. Yeah, but this is only a few that I keep up here. I've got a fucking big cabinet downstairs that has just an absolute. I think I've got like 30 or 40 pipes. I've got a shit ton of them.
3 months later, Taylor has a pipe. I mean,
yeah.
The problem I have is that when I get into something, I really get into it. And Jeremy's the same way. I mean, I think that's why we're probably friends. Like when we get into something, we dive into it head first. I mean, look at the watch game. You're like, I'm not getting into watches. I will not get into watches. And then like fuck, 3 weeks later, you have like
I
$2,000 worth of watches.
Yeah, I think within like a month, I spent like $3,000 on watches. Within like a month, I was like, fuck, I got to stop spending money on watches.
Yeah. So,
but in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing, right? I mean, we have friends that spend thousands.
Mr. Art here has a Rolex collection. I do know that.
Yes, those kind of people. Mearshams are great. That's a great pipe actually for a starter, a corncob pipe. Those things are fucking great. They smoke cool. They're easy to deal with. You don't get a lot of the gurgling and shit that you get in some pipes if you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to like smoke a pipe well and stuff. And some tobaccos just have a tendency to do that. But corncobs
that's pipes are good for smoking the last bit of a cigar.
Yeah, dude, you can just pop that bitch down in there and smoke the rest of it.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't have to worry about burning your shit. I don't do that because I have certain pipes that I smoke certain tobaccos in because different tobaccos will flavor a pipe and then you can like taste it in the next one. So I have certain pipes that I smoke certain types of tobacco in. I don't mix and match.
How often do you smoke a pipe?
I haven't in a long time. I used to smoke pipes every day. Every day. I got away from it. I don't smoke pipes near as often as I used to. I mean, that's why I have like 30 pipes because I used to smoke them constantly. I smoked them far more than cigars for quite a while. And now I've kind of flip-flopped and I smoke cigars far more than pipes. So like I said, pipes are just a little fiddly. It's a little easier just to light a cigar and go with it. You don't have to have as much gear, right? Like a pipe, you got to have a tamper and all the things. And, you know, you got to have pipe cleaners and shit because they get gurgly and stuff. And you got to run a pipe cleaner down them because they start getting, yeah, this is a thing. And you can get tongue bite from a pipe too, which is kind of a bitch. Tongue bites where you're like the pipe, like I don't even know if it's like a steam burn from the tobacco or what, but like it actually like burns your tongue a little bit, and then your tongue just feels like raw sandpaper for like 2 days.
Yeah, I get that every time I eat pizza.
Right. It's the same feeling you get when you eat a way too hot piece of pizza you can get from a pipe if you smoke it too hot.
And fuck, now I want pizza.
Dude, are you and I know we're going off another tangent. We're at 2:41. We got to wrap this up here soon. But have you ever? Do they have Jimmy John or not Jimmy John's? Papa Murphy's up where you're at?
Papa Murphy's?
Papa Murphy's.
No. I think we had one open up and then it closed down like months later.
Really? It's like one of those places where you go in and they make the pizza, but then you bring it home and make it. You bring it home and cook it.
Oh, no, we don't have that. No, we have a place. I cannot remember what it's called, but it's like a Chipotle for pizza. So you just say, I want a pizza. And then they have all the ingredients out. You put what you want on it. They bake it and it's all personal pizzas. They don't do like big. It's all personal.
I mean, that can't be bad, right?
That place is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that can't be bad.
God, I want to know what that place is. Blaze. Yep. Blaze Pizza. Not
Nice.
Mod Pizza, Blaze. Yeah. That place is cool.
Papa Murphy's, I guess, is not really like that, I guess. I was going to say
I remember like a meme about that. Like it was a meme video where a guy comes in, they ordered a pizza. Maybe it was delivery right when the coronavirus hit. They got a delivery pizza and it shows up and it's just ingredients on top of some dough.
And they're like,
oh, fuck, we have to bake it.
Yeah, you got to bake it, which is kind of a weird thing when we first got them because we're like, why am I paying for if I've got to, I don't understand. But their pan pizza is fucking delicious. Me and the wife still get one occasionally.
Let's be honest. There are two things with the pizza that make the pizza: the crust and the sauce. True. I mean, that's what makes the pizza, and you're paying them for that, and the rest, I mean, is
okay. Here's one that'll start a fucking feud in the comments.
Pineapple does not belong on pizza. Okay,
no, that's not a feud. That's just a fucking fact of life.
Okay,
pineapple should not go on pizza, and anybody that says otherwise is a communist. The thing that I was gonna start a feud in the comments is. Don't spit, dude. I got one of my videos. I went on a tangent about how people that that put pineapple on their pizza were like the Antichrist, and like I pissed all kinds of people off that really love it. They were like,
oh man,
oh,
dude, I was trying so hard not to suck that scotch down the wrong pipe, man.
Dude, whiskey down the wrong pipe, by the way, miserable. That is so much worse than choking on anything else.
That's why, like, it made me laugh, and then I was trying to laugh, like trying not to laugh, and that's why I started laughing harder because I'm just sitting here thinking, like, fuck, if I suck this down the wrong pipe,
it's gonna suck out loud. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's bad. But no, New York or Chicago. Thick crust, not even Chicago. Okay, I won't even say Chicago because that's a very specific thing. Thick, like pan crust, or more of a New York, right?
Like Sicilian, big, thick pan. I used to love Sicilian pizzas, and then that was when I hit the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I was getting like 2 Sicilians a week, and that's like, fuck, that's a lot of bread. That's a lot of carbs. I love a Sicilian pizza, but the problem is that's just too much bread. My metabolism can't handle it anymore.
I agree. It's tough, man. But but
when we're talking about like thin crust, like crispy, I don't
mean thin crispy. I don't mean thin like fire oven kind of situation where it gets super thin and like crispy. I mean like New York style, like
big floppy, like floppy, you need like
if you fold
lay it on your arm and like
right. That's one of my favorites, dude. The fold. Oh goddamn! And I don't even want a lot of shit on it. Just give me pepperoni and cheese. Fold that bitch. And
the perfect pizza. The perfect pizza. Mushroom, pepperoni, jalapeno.
Okay, I'll go with you on most of that. And I actually have come around to mushrooms as I've gotten older. I used to really not be a big fan of mushrooms. I will say I love jalapeno on a pizza, but I'm not totally on board with the mushroom on the pizza. I'd kind of rather just have pepperoni and the jalapeno.
The mushroom sends it home, man.
I still say,
like, I'm good with pepperoni and jalapeno, but mushroom sends it home.
I still say good old standard pepperoni, New York slice, big wide motherfucker about that wide in the back that you fold and it's floppy and it's.
Can I tell you about the first time I ever tried New York pizza? Flew into New York. It was my first ever time in New York. I was going to spend about 3 days there.
I've never had actual New York pizza. Is it really different because of the water? Is it really better than like pizza everywhere else? Or is that kind of like a thing that New Yorkers just kind of,
it's just a thing. Okay. It's just a thing. The bagels, I don't know. I can't comment on that, but the pizza is just fucking pizza, man. Then again, I only had dollar pizza. So walking down the street.
Yeah, that might not be the best thing.
Yeah. Walking down the street, it's like 2 a.m. and I'm like, I'm fucking hungry. I haven't had dinner. Walk in a dollar pizza shop. This crowd runs in behind me. It must have been like a bar crowd or something. I don't know. But I'm sitting there looking at the menu, trying to figure out. And the guy's like, what do you want? What do you want? We have 2 things. We have cheese or pepperoni. What do you want? And I'm like, you have a menu. And he's like, no, forget the menu. Cheese or pepperoni. I'm like, fuck pepperoni, I guess. Like, Jesus. And the people behind me are yelling.
Why so aggressive?
Hurry up, guy. Like, what are you doing? Just cheese or pepperoni. Everybody's yelling at me. I'm just like, okay, your menu means fuck all. I guess I'll get pepperoni. And like,
you're like, I'm not used to this. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm like, 2 pieces of pepperoni, and he's like $2. And I'm like, okay. So I pull out my card, and he's like, cash only. God damn it! Everybody is yelling at me, and I'm just like, this is New York. This is New York City.
That's so.
Yeah, the bars are open 24 hours, but I'm sure there's like some sort of like midnight crowd, like not midnight, but middle of the night crowd. You know.
Okay, can we
whatever
agree?
It was, like they were lined up behind me and they were pissed because I was not fast.
Okay, so we agree for the most part.
Pizza Nazi, yeah, it was like the soup Nazi, but for pizza.
That's no pizza for you. I think we, for the most part, from what I saw in the chat, people mostly agree that pineapple on pizza is fucking base level, just treachery, blasphemy.
I hate it. I hate it.
Can we also agree that
all the pineapple? I do. I love cooked pineapple. I love pineapple in any way, but you put it on a fucking pizza and it ruins the pizza.
You know, they say if you eat a lot of pineapple, it makes your jizz taste better.
You test that out on yourself?
I didn't. I'm just talking for the sake of. The significant others out there. You know, just to help make things a little easier.
Spoiler alert: Jeremy tried it.
I'm just saying. I haven't. Honestly, I haven't. I've just heard that. And I'm always like, if that was the truth, pineapple sales would be through the fucking roof. Dudes would be eating pineapple like it was going out of style to try to get more BJs. Like they'd be like, pineapple on tap, motherfuckers. Let's go.
I will say, I don't remember exactly where it was. I did get pineapple on a pizza, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like a traditional pizza at all.
Fucking stop it.
It was like some sort of
You're ruining it.
Pizza.
See,
I don't like pineapple on pizza, but it was like not at all pizza. It was like pretty much it should have been a different category of food by that point. But
see, here's the other thing I was going to say where I was going with the pizza thing before I got off on the pineapple jizz fucking thing. Squirrel.
Butt pee, pineapple jizz, taint fan, like
it always goes this way toward the end of the podcast. I can't help it. Things are going to get weird. Like we've talked about this, but I don't agree with fucking weird shit on pizza. Like I don't.
Best pizza.
My wife gets this chicken and artichoke shit, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. Like she orders it every time, and I'm like, ugh.
The best pizza I've ever had in my life, bar none, ever, was when I lived in Pennsylvania. And of all places that could make amazing pizza, the best one I ever had was from Whole Foods, because we had a Whole Foods like a mile and a half from our house, and they do pizzas in house. You order them, whatever you want on it. They had a mushroom shallot pizza. Fucking
shallots are good.
Amazing. Fucking amazing. We would have one of those a week when we lived in Pennsylvania because they were so good.
But here's the thing. A shallot's a fucking onion. Okay. Like
it is. It's a fucking onion. Yeah.
Right. When you start getting into like chicken and artichoke and all kinds of weird shit, and the fucking sauce isn't even spaghetti. It isn't even red sauce. It's like some kind of white sauce. I'm like, can we just, that's not pizza. I mean, that's a different thing. Like it's just, to me, I don't know, man. I'm a pizza purist. I kind of just like standard shit. Like I don't want any.
Much like I will drink a Truly or a White Claw if presented to me, I will also eat different kinds of pizza. And I'm very, very fucking skeptical of pineapple on pizza. But the one I had, it was good.
Here's the thing. I've had it.
One, not most pineapple. Most pineapple on pizza, I say, go fuck off. Like I don't like you.
I've had it. I never say fuck something and not even try it, because I feel like that's just not a good way to be. You can't say you don't like something if you've never tried it, right? I tell my kids that all the time. They're like, I don't like that. I'm like, how do you fucking know you've never had it? I tried pineapple on pizza. I thought it tastes like hot fuck. I didn't like it. It was gross.
I don't like it.
It was weird.
Like it makes it sweet. I don't like that. I don't want sweet pizza.
The same thing with my wife's chicken artichoke weird white sauce pizza. Like I tried it. I wasn't about it. I was like, I don't fucking want that.
Now there is a really good pizza that you might not expect, and it doesn't have a traditional red sauce. And coming from somebody speaking to somebody who is a pizza purist, QT of all places, Quick Trip, the gas station. If you go before 10 a.m., they have a breakfast pizza.
Well, that's a different thing altogether. I feel like though. I feel like even using pizza is a loose term there, right?
The sauce is gravy, and it's got cheese, and then it has egg, sausage, and bacon on it.
Okay, if you say this, the crust is biscuit, I'm gonna be like, that's not a fucking pizza.
It's not. It's regular pizza crust, but it's gravy as the sauce.
What kind of gravy?
I don't know. Fucking gravy.
Like sausage gravy?
Yeah.
I don't think everybody knows about sausage gravy. I think there are areas of the world that they don't know what sausage gravy is.
No, this is sausage gravy.
But you know what sausage gravy is, though, like the white gravy, right?
Yeah.
I've said that to people before, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Not brown gravy for turkey, but
right. But like, there's areas of the world, and even maybe even the United States, that like that's the only kind of gravy they know about. They're not aware. I think that's
like beef stock gravy, right?
I think like I'm from Kentucky. We call it milk gravy, right? It's because well, that's what you make it with. Sausage gravy. Like after you fry your sausage or your bacon in the morning, how you make it is you make a little slurry with a little flour and water, and then you take all your little bits of your sausage grease or your bacon grease and the little bits of shit left in the pan. You pour milk in there. You deglaze your pan with the milk, and then you add a little bit of the flour and water to thicken it up. Maybe put some chunks of bacon or sausage in. That's how you make sausage gravy. So
I've heard it called sawmill gravy. I've heard that before.
We call it
milk gravy. Sounds gross.
Well, but that's just what we called it where I'm from. It's the same shit, whatever. But there are certain areas of the country, they don't know nothing about that, bro. I think that's a Southern thing. I don't think they do that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what grits are everywhere.
Dude, grits are good.
Grits are delicious.
Big divide, a big rift in the grit world, grits world.
Don't fucking put sugar in the grits. Get the fuck out of here with that. You're in the sugar and the grits guy, aren't you?
I'm both. I like both.
No, you don't put sugar in the grits. That's fucking
sugar in the grits, man.
No, dude.
Sweet grits are good.
There are two things that are acceptable. Well, actually, there's three things that are acceptable in grits.
Bacon.
Well,
butter.
Of course, meats. Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking different thing.
Butter,
salt, pepper. I'll even go with some cheese. You can throw some cheese in there. And I will say a lot of times I got this like a Paula Deen recipe, and you put sour cream or cream cheese in the grits.
Have you tried sweet grits?
I have, and it's just weird to me, right?
It's good. It's fucking good.
It's just a little weird.
Grits come from corn. Corn is naturally sweet.
I hear you. I hear you. The extra sweetness weirds me out a little bit. Maybe it's just because
you don't put a lot.
No, you just put a little.
Just a little sugar.
Okay. Somebody just said pineapple and grits. They're trying to fucking piss me off. Somebody said cheese grits with chives. That's legit. And that's like one of the Paula Deen recipes, right? You put cheese and cream cheese in the grits. Cream cheese with like cheddar cheese and chives. Oh, dude, get the fuck out of here, dude. Those things are fire.
Yeah, that's good. Mellow mushroom. That's where I had that pineapple pizza. It's like,
that's that spring water crust shit, right? Don't they have that some kind of that's like their thing? Like it's like spring water crust or something.
They're a bunch of hippies.
We have those here. They're good. Yeah.
But they have a pizza with pineapple. I don't eat any others. I got that one because I was splitting with a person. I was doing a half and half pizza. And I was like, he asked if he could have one of mine. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess. So I ate one of his pieces and it wasn't horrible, but traditional like Hawaiian pizza. Fuck no. I don't like pineapple on pizza, but that one, it was like barbecue, chicken, pineapple, and some other stuff. So it was a weird pizza, but
somebody said grits have the texture of gravel. If grits have the texture of gravel, you're not cooking them right.
Or enough.
Yeah, they shouldn't have the texture of gravel. You're probably not cooking them enough or right, especially if you add like a little bit of cheddar cheese and like I was saying, some cream cheese to them. Man, they are creamy and nice, and they are delicious.
Ranch dressing on pizza. What are you, 12?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'll dip in some ranch every now.
The only ranch I ever eat is mixed with Texas Pete.
Oh yeah, dude. Hot sauce is good on pizza.
I put hot sauce on everything.
Put a little Texas Pete or some Louisiana Red Hot on that shit.
Or what I've been doing lately, little bit of Captain Kirk's hot sauce.
Dude, my 15-year-old son loves that shit. I had to get more bottles of it because he fucking blew through our first bottle like it was going out of style. And then
I ate my first bottle in like a week.
Right. He puts it on everything. He puts it on everything. Everything he eats, he's like,
yep. I put it on my tacos tonight. Alex made some tacos when I came home, and I put my Captain Kirk's on the tacos.
Captain Kirk's is real good on eggs.
Yep.
I like hot sauce on eggs.
Sriracha on pizza? I have definitely tried mellow mushrooms holy shiitake. Yes.
I have not.
I'm a huge fan of mushrooms on anything. I love mushrooms.
For the longest time, I was not a mushroom fan. Dude, have you ever had here I go, side stroking, and we're about to come on.
Side stroking. That's a really good way to put it.
When you overhand like this, side stroke.
That was for you.
Have you ever
had times you've mouthed your whiskey on the podcast?
What's the thing that the people, they like forage for them? A lot of hunters are big into them. Morels. I've never had them, but man, I see a lot of guys. Like I watch Meat Eater. You ever watch that show, Meat Eater, with Steve Ranella? They always go into morel season, and they're out there in the woods trying to gather up the morels and stuff. I think it's a kind of mushroom,
dude. It is a mushroom. It is. Dude. So when I lived in Pennsylvania, going back to that. In my backyard, we rented a house with 4 acres, which was amazing. And in the backyard, right before a storm one day, I was walking around and there was this giant orange mushroom. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a chicken of the woods, which people use as a chicken alternative or substitute.
You can die if you eat the wrong mushrooms out of the woods, right? You got to be super careful with that shit.
That one is a very, very distinct mushroom.
Okay.
And
well, you could either die or you could have a really fun time for like a few hours.
Where I lived in Pennsylvania was the mushroom capital of the world, or right beside it, right?
Okay.
Like 1/3 of all the mushrooms come from there. And chicken of the woods, I saw it and I'm like, that is chicken of the woods. So I harvested it and I went inside and I put it in the refrigerator and I wanted to try it. I wanted to cook it up like I normally cook my chicken. And the storm of the century hits, like fucking freak storm. I was outside shooting a video and in the middle of my video, it just turned dark. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, because I was shooting and then all of a sudden it's so dark. I'm like adjusting my camera and then I look up and there's a tree whipping and the branches are touching the ground.
You're like,
and I'm like,
Wizard of Oz.
I'm like, it's time to go inside. So I went inside, power went out, and Alex comes home from work. Dude, we're out Kennett Square. Yeah, shout out Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. I was in Chad's Ford, so right beside Kennett Square. Power goes out. The power's out for 5 days. And like day 3, I'm like, shit, my mushroom's in the refrigerator and it's spoiled. Dude, I looked and looked and looked. I've looked for one ever since, and I've never found another. I've
never even heard of that.
Yeah, chicken of the woods. It looks crazy.
That's
but
wild.
You can't mistake it. You cannot mistake a chicken of the woods mushroom. Here, I'll show you.
Steve Sheehan says, 150 drunk dudes watching 2 drunk dudes. Hell of a state we were in. First off, I will say, Steve, I've only had 2, maybe 3 pours of whiskey. I am far from inebriated. I'm sober as the Pope, but
same.
I'm having fun nevertheless. I rarely get drunk. A lot of people think that I'm drunk in like on podcasts and on videos and stuff. Holy shit, that's a shroom.
Yeah, and it was about that big too. But when you cook it, apparently it has the texture of chicken and it cooks and kind of tastes like chicken. So
wow,
I was so intrigued by it. I really wanted to cook it up, and then fucking.
You want to talk about some crazy looking shit? Look up Romanesque broccoli.
What?
Romanesco.
What the? Well, the first thing that comes up is a girl wearing leggings of like broccoli leggings.
Nope.
Are you sure it's not this?
Nope, definitely not that. Definitely not that. I mean, you could eat that if you want, but you might end up with a cold sore. Yeah, that is the crazy.
These are what are they?
The Fibonacci sequence.
Fibonacci, yeah. There was a girl on YouTube who did a video on the Fibonacci series, and it pops up all over.
Yep, the Fibonacci. That's why I got interested in that stuff, because it's like a perfect example of the Fibonacci sequence. This is actually really good. There's a local farmer's market that gets them sometimes, and it's actually really tasty. It's good stuff. It's supposed to be good for you too. Romanesco broccoli.
It's weird. All right. Well, I think that's probably a good place to end before we go into any more vegetables.
Just to recap, I think we hit everything from whiskeys, cigars, knives.
Mandalorian sucks.
The fact that Taylor's the fact that I haven't cut the top of my hair since Corona started. I've just been cutting the sides, and my hair is like look at this shit that's like going over to the side here. I don't know what's going on with this.
Look at this.
Dude,
I got hair again. I've buzzed my head like 3 times.
The hair's in rough shape. I'm trying to grow the top out a little bit just to change things up. I regularly. You didn't know me when I had hair down to like almost my ass and had dreadlocks, did you?
No, but I saw a picture of you with like a ponytail or something on your Facebook.
Yeah, I've had long hair several times, and I shave it off and I grow it out and I shave it off. And I can't ever decide what the fuck I want to do with it. But yeah, I think we've touched everything from EDC to pineapple jizz to chicken mushrooms.
Yeah. We always need something, like a taint fan.
Somebody was saying rip taint fan. You missed it earlier. They were talking about RIP taint fan because the weather's cooling off. There's no need for the taint fan anymore.
It is true. Trust me, I am not sad about not having to have a taint fan. Trust me.
I know the taint fan.
Can I say that I'm really happy that I didn't have any internet issues, because I didn't tell you about this, but two times this week my internet has shit the bed.
Oh God.
Twice, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hope that it works on Friday. I'm not gonna tell Jeremy, but here we are at 3 hours in, and I've not had a glitch. So
that's awesome. That's awesome, because I would really like to start trying to be fairly regular with these and not having regular. See, that's
Jeremy's
why
not drunk, but regular.
Well, that's dude. I was just about to say. See, that's why people think I'm drunk. But what you don't realize is you can watch videos where I'm not even reviewing whiskey, and I still do that because I just can't fucking talk half the time.
That's true.
Oh, that's a funny
taint
shit
heater.
right
Yeah, the taint heater's in the closet. We got one of those. It is actually going to get to the point where I'm going to need a heater soon, because I do have the AC running. Not right now, but like today I did, and I was like, oh shit, I got to turn the AC off, and I was wearing a jacket in here, so it's not going to be long before I'm going to need a jacket and a heater.
You don't need a jacket. You just need a few good pours of some whiskey, and that'll warm you right up. It warms you from the inside out.
And a cigar.
That's it. That is one. Jeremy, real quick, Sires. That is one prerequisite that you need at your new place.
Is a vent.
Guys, people of the internet, people of the podcast.
Donate a vent to me.
No, don't donate. Fuck him. But tell Taylor he's got to put some kind of shit so you can smoke on the podcast. Because here's the thing. I will,
if you send me one of those sweet ashtrays.
I will for sure send you one. Even though they're expensive as fuck, I'm going to send you one. They're so expensive to manufacture, but I'm going to send you one. But speaking of, just real quick before we go, anyone tell Jeremy about what his V-cut cigar looked like? Somebody said it looked like, here's the thing. That fucking like almost ruined V-cuts for me. Okay. You're getting
that was the point. That's why that was the guy who said it. IMAC death. Yeah, he was the one that said it looked like a tip of a penis.
Well, no,
stretched out like.
Yeah, what he says, like the tip of a penis spread open, and I was like, okay, first off, who spreads the tip of their dick open? Like, I've never done that in my life. I have no reason to do that. It's just disturbing. Secondly, that's going to ruin a V-cut for me. Like, I can't. I can't. I have to not think about. I purposely tried to remove that from my memory. Yeah, see, you V-cut a Texas Lancero, and all I'm going to think about is a big pecker with it spread open in my mouth. Like I can't do it. Like, you guys are just making this way worse on me with trying to get this Texas Lancero.
Okay. We're gonna add to this 1,000 concurrence. If we hit it, Jeremy has to V-cut the Texas Lancero.
I don't think you can V-cut it. I think it's too big.
You're going to use a knife and V-cut that shit. Even if it's shallow, it's going to be V-cut.
It's going to be a V-cut. Well, okay. So what I was saying, though, before we got off, because you distracted me with the spread open pecker, which is just disturbing. We can do some different content and have some on the podcast that aren't the Hangouts or even the Hangouts. We could do some tastings and stuff. We can do the same cigar. We could talk about a cigar, what you're getting, what I'm getting, what we're getting. We could do whiskey cigar pairings. We could do all kinds of fun shit if you have the ability to partake during the podcast.
I'd like to. So that's part of the plan, is whatever new space I have, hopefully will be better ventilated than this room. So we'll see.
Okay. Steve just said, oh, you can. I did it. Now, I don't know if he's talking about spreading his dick open or V-cutting a large cigar.
Big pecker spread open in my mouth, quote of the day.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Hear me real quick, Sires, everybody.
I still want to know if Steve was talking about spreading his pecker or if he was talking about V-cutting a large cigar.
Probably both.
Could have been.
Just saying.
We'll never know. That just got to stay to the imagination, I suppose.
All right. Well, I think that's the perfect place to cut this off. So, Jeremy, you got anything going on this week, next week?
Just the fact that this month is going to be crazy, man. You know as well as I do, Taylor. For us guys that are in the YouTube world, November and December are crazy months because of all the videos that come out this time of year with gift guides and all these things. I am working on a gift guide. I obviously have some merch that I've worked very hard to try to get out before Christmas so that you guys could, usually people have a little gift they have a list of people they want to buy shit for, or this is a good time of year to buy yourself a nice little something. So I've got the cups coming out, the glasses coming out here in the next week or so. I've got the Zippos coming out in the next week or so. There will be a very small batch of the ashtrays getting dropped. They're going to be kind of expensive, so that's why it's a very small batch. I know there's only a limited kind of people that are going to want to spend that kind of money, but they're going to come out. The glasses I'm going to try to keep as a always available kind of thing. There may be times they go out of stock because they are hand blown and handmade, so they might go in and out of stock, but it will be something I'm going to try to keep available. It's not going to be just like a drop and go. The same with the Zippos. I'm going to try to keep those to where you guys can get them regularly. But yeah, just merch, just all the shit I've been working on for like 6 or 8 months now is finally starting to be ready, and we're going to be dropping all this stuff in the next few weeks.
Sweet. Only thing for me is I just built a watch this week, or I built it last week. I did the video this week. Hell of a lot of fun building a watch and putting it together. I think
turned out really well too, man. I was impressed that it turned out as well as it did.
Right here, right now, I think I should challenge Jeremy to put a watch together. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see. But regardless, I just uploaded my fall EDC update, which a lot of people have been asking for. So that's over on the channel. Both of those videos are on the channel right now. And that's it. I don't have any drops coming up. Well, I hope I do, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. So I will have new merch in the next couple of weeks, I think. So that's about the only thing for me.
Cool.
New hats. I will have Richardson hats finally.
Oh, that's right, because you're working with Bunker now.
Yeah, I'll have some new hats coming up soon.
He called my hat a PacSun hat.
It's pretty PacSun.
It's not PacSun. Just because you offset a logo, it's not PacSun.
It's pretty PacSun.
I'm just saying. We got to get some shirts. I keep saying new shirt. We got to get some podcast shirts going with Bunker here soon too.
Yeah, those are going to happen, I think, next year. Yeah. As long as they want to work with us on those. They may not work with us on those because
I think they will. I think they will. I don't think they have a problem with,
I mean, we could, if not, we could just put them in our respective stores, you know?
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We can get some, but we'll get some, we'll come up with some cool ideas. Maybe we'll do a crowdsource thing with what's the favorite stuff from the podcast that you guys want us to make into a shirt or something to come
clearly up with taint fan and butt pee. So this will be great, guys.
Spread open. But hopefully spread open pecker is not one of the things people want a shirt, because that's going to be rough.
Well, I mean, if you guys want it, then we'll make it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, we're here to please, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out.
Thanks, everybody. It was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Over 3 hours. Thank you, guys. We will see you next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Whiskey Knife Fight. Back to trying to keep Jeremy on topic. That's really all I got.
That I do think we're going to work on the Bourbon Junkies really soon. I know some people had asked about guests. We are going to try to have the Bourbon Junkies lined up pretty soon. Just to give you guys a quick, some of the people that we've talked to and are lined up. Bourbon Junkies coming soon.
Big Idea Design.
Chad from Big Idea Design. Michael from Das Affinimir, or now Open Seas.
Yeah.
Probably
Zach.
Zach said he would be glad to do it. Brian from Pravada Cigar Club said he'd be glad to jump on one night and
I think in order to have any of these people on, they each need to send us something so we can all talk about it together. You know, like a book club.
I'm sure they will. I know Brian will send us all some cigars, but you got to be able to smoke it. That's where we go into the thing where, the thing.
Somebody said get a Rabbit Air. I could get one of those and put it in here.
Here's the thing. We'll talk offline because that's going to get us going into a whole nother subject. I'll talk about the Rabbit Airs are great, but with a caveat. So we'll talk about that offline though.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Follow us on all the places. Everything's linked down below. We will see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Same place, same time.
Kisses. Love you, bitches. Bye.
Bye. Mandalorian.